Hey everybody, I'm EnviroBoy. This is my channel. Welcome on this beautiful Thursday. It's actually a really lovely day around here today. It's one of those days where it's a bit cooler than the summer standard, so it feels real nice. On top of being sunny and clear skies. Great day to be inside ignoring nature. Perfection. No, for real, it's a lovely day, and I'm actually really... These are the type of days that make me really happy that I decided to move my desk right by my big open sliding glass door. That's what I'm looking for. You know, it's like it's not in the way of the door. I'm at the part where the door, the exit isn't, where the door slides to. But I'm just right by there, so I get all kinds of natural light right at my desk, and it was the right decision moving it here. Yeah, it's just it's a good day. It's a good day. It's the kind of day where it's really, really hard to be too upset or down about anything at all. And I mean, that's just a really good situation to be in. So hopefully your day is going as well as mine is so far. It is Thursday. Sorry, I'm dusting off the cat hair from my desk. It is very likely the cat will show up very shortly to resupply us with cat hair, but until then, pretend to have a slightly clear workstation for a minute or two. Actually, we might be good. You can see her. She's right over my this shoulder right here. Yeah, like right there she is. There we go. It's hard to kind of do it. Right, there she is. She's asleep back there. She's enjoying the chill day as well. But yeah, we're gonna do some writing today. Gonna do some writing. I'm looking forward to it. I've had a lot of cool ideas about not only the specific details of what I want this campaign that we're writing right now to look like, but just how I like to approach writing in general. And it's like some people might recognize that it's a bit of a theme for me, that I'm constantly adjusting not just what I'm writing but how I'm doing it. And like, to me, that's a good sign, because it shows that I'm still constantly thinking about what am I doing, what's the best way to do it. So it makes me really happy that my brain is still functioning that way. Like, any day that my brain is coming up with new ideas makes me happy, because I've definitely had periods in life, whether it lasts an hour, a day, a week, month, years. There's definitely been periods in my life where just creativity was not something that was happening up in the old noggin very often. So, anytime I have a day when I'm feeling creative and feeling like I have ideas and motivation, it's a really good day. It's a really good day. So, let's go ahead and do some writing. Come on a writing adventure with me. Let's go on a jury. A jury? No, let's not do that. Jury duty sounds horrible. Let's go on a journey. It's like a jury, but with a knee in there. Dumb joke. Anyway. Sorry. Here we are. I'm gonna have us start off as always, with just sort of our warm-up project of inventing some runes for potential use in future games and all of that. It really is. So, I talked about it last time. I guess I'll open up just sort of explaining why I do it this way. I always talk about how it kind of gets the creative juices flowing and all that kind of stuff, and that remains true. But like, there's kind of a more, there's like a deeper reason why I do that. And I kind of talked about it last time, and so I'm gonna just kind of open up with it this time. There's this tendency, with most of us too, and like, this isn't an accusation of anyone I know in my life or anyone who's said anything to me. Just this is what happens with us in life. We tend to wait for inspiration and motivation to get ourselves working on projects that are meaningful to us, right? Like, because like, there's always this like, even when we're not feeling particularly motivated, there's still sort of something inside most of us that makes us want to achieve this, that, or the other thing, and the specifics of that just have to do with what your interests are and all that kind of stuff. But we oftentimes will wait for motivation to take care of that, And something that I've learned, and this isn't like a clinically proven thing, you know, so like grain of salt. I'm just a dude talking from his personal life experiences, but what I found is that if you wait for motivation, you're likely to wait a long time. And if you're waiting for motivation to do something, that's when you can fall into, you know, the traps of writer's block, fall into the traps. I mean, that expands beyond even just creative projects, right? If you wait for motivation to clean things up around your house or something, that's like waiting for that is what opens up the avenue for things like depression pits and stuff to open up in our lives. Like, motivation doesn't beget action. Action begets motivation, and the same is true for inspiration. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is get yourself working when you don't have motivation, but it's much more likely you will end up with motivation if you start yourself working on something. You know, so it's like if it's cleaning, you're not going to feel all that motivated until you finally just say, like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to put the dishes in the dishwasher. And if you do that one thing, and it's much easier to get yourself to be like, okay, well, while I'm at it, let's wipe down the countertops. And while I'm at it, let's take care of all of that expired food in the fridge. And it goes on and on. And that's kind of why I do this with the writing, right? Because it's so easy to sit here and be like, man, I'm not sure what I want to write. I'm struggling to think about exactly what details I want to work on today. I don't know what I want to be putting on the paper. And if I'm waiting for a clear motivation about what I'm working on, I might go the full, you know, in this case, 4-hour stream without really doing anything. Whereas if I'm starting with this project where it's like, okay, I know what the steps are, I know what the format is, this is just an exercise, this gets me going and it starts the brain flowing in those creative ways. And so it's like I'll start off by making this enchantment idea, and then that'll start getting me thinking like, oh man, what if they ended up with that in this one location that they're doing? Oh wait, but then that would or wouldn't work in that location because I want to do this, that, or the other thing, and then we're off to the races, right? Because now we've been thinking like, oh, now I know what I want to do in that area because I have an idea of what would and wouldn't work in there. So starting off with this creativity, with this project, this consistent, repeatable project is a really important part for me of the process because it makes sure that I'm not going to now spend hours doing nothing. So, with that in mind, let's make ourselves a rune here. The project is we're going through all of the spells within the 5e spell list for D&D, just one at a time, kind of, and we're just going by starting off in School of Magic and then moving. The next tier is the spell level, and then we're just taking the spells and we're turning them into a rune that can be added to an item of some sort. Sometimes it's armor, sometimes it's a weapon. It depends on the nature of the spell. But if we do that, if we just kind of piecewise do it one at a time, it results in a huge project that we're not likely to run out of stuff to do for a long, long time. But that just is what makes it fun and is what gives it, you know, what turns it into a real good time. So the last one we did was Forbiddance. Oh yeah, and that's, sorry, I just remembered the really bad pun that I came up with for Forbiddance. And we're not gonna go there. We're gonna save the puns for later on once we've warmed up a little bit. The first one we're gonna do is Globe of Invulnerability. I'm just gonna, yeah. So Globe of Invulnerability. Let's get our title here. Invulnerability. If I sound nasally, I apologize. My sinuses have been wonky today. I don't know if the weather, as beautiful as it is outside, I don't know if the weather is resulting in like higher pollen output or something, but that's why I sound kind of gross right now. It's an allergy thing, so I apologize. Alright. Globe of Invulnerability. Go ahead and take our spell as written here. Copy it. Bring it over here. We're going to paste it into place. And then from there we can start to, as I always say, the verbiage I like to use is we're going to massage the language a bit to turn it into a rune instead of an actual spell. So, But I do want to make sure I've got my formatting good to go so it looks nice and easy to read. Perfect. Okay. An immobile, faintly shimmering barrier springs into existence in a 10-foot radius around you and remains for the duration. Okay, so instead of you, we're going to say around the item. And remains for the duration. Yeah. I think that's all we need to do for it. Any spell of 5th level or lower cast from outside the barrier can't affect creatures or objects within it, even if the spell is cast using a higher level spell slot. Such a spell can target creatures and objects within the barrier, but the spell has no effects on them. Okay, hold on. Let me read this again. I'm struggling to understand why they bothered to put some of these things. Any spell of 5th level or lower cast from outside the barrier can't affect creatures or objects within it, even if the spell is cast using a higher level spell slot. Such a spell... Oh, I see. Such a spell can target creatures and objects within the barrier, but the spell has no effect on them. So, what that's saying... the reason it gave me pause is because it said... I was a little confused for a second because it said any spell 5th level or lower, and then it said even using higher level spell slot. What it means is a 5th level spell cast as a 6th or 7th spell, right? Just because, like, just with this one, we can cast it at a higher level. So a 5th level spell cast at 7th level still will have no effect, but a 7th level spell will be able to affect them, is what it's saying. Similarly, the area within the barrier is excluded from the areas affected by such spells. Okay, yeah, so, and that's just saying, so it's like if there's something giving the ground difficult terrain where you're walking, this thing will make it so that area does not have difficult terrain. Oh, excuse me, I apologize. This is why I still am working on the coffee today. Gotta fuel up properly. And by properly, I mean chemically. So unhealthy. I don't care. We all have our vices, and if mine's just going to be drinking lots of coffee and caffeine throughout the day, there are worse things in life. At any rate, honestly, this one doesn't need a whole lot of work from us. This is pretty easy. You just make it so that the barrier is centered around an object rather than the person casting it. At higher levels, so instead of cast, we're just going to say when you, imbue an item with this spell using a spell slot of 7th. We'll say, and what we're going to say is at 7th level or higher. Because when you're imbuing, it's not about a spell slot. It's about like the process you go through for imbuing the item. And so that can have an impact on things. The barrier blocks spells of 1 level higher for each slot above 6th. So basically, if you take the time to make it a 9th level, cast it as a 9th level spell, or make it a 9th level, you know, in this situation, a 9th level imbibement, you're going to be immune to magic for the duration, which is sweet. Pretty rad. Duration is 1 minute. Casting time is 1 action. So for how it's cast, we always just do command word is spoken while holding the item. Simple as that. Range, what did it say? 10 feet or like a 10-foot barrier? 10-foot radius, yep. Hold on 1 second. Un segundo. To manage things. Life is complicated and it forbids me from avoiding multitasking. It requires that I multitask for me to survive my life every day. Another thing that perhaps is not healthy for me, but you know, it's why I need the caffeine. So there we go. Range 10-foot radius. And then the duration was 1 minute. Attack and save that does not play into it. I kind of want to change this. So I have this as damage and buff, but I was thinking about this. I'm going to change this, and there's one thing that I want to consistently have, and I'm going to say type of imbibement. And I want to try and be thinking about things in two fashions, whether it's active or passive, and whether it's offensive, defensive, or, you know, other. So, like, in this situation, this would be, I would consider this one an active defensive imbibement, because you have to activate it, and it does defensive stuff, right? So, like, an example of a passive one would be for some spells, and different schools of magic will see this. It's actually kind of a cool thing with this different spells or schools of magic, because, like, different ones of them will lend themselves better to being, you know, added to weapons or added to armor and so on and so forth. But in this situation, so type of imbibement, where this is going to be a passive defensive one, but like an active no, this is an active one, excuse me, because you have to activate it. A passive would be like if you had an enchantment that somehow impacted a sword, so that the sword just passively, you know, does or has a chance to do fire damage or something like that, right? Because you're imbuing it with a certain type of, like, fire magical energy or whatever. So for this one, we're just going to say active defense, right? So it's an active one and it's defense. And so this one, it won't require a save or anything like that. And so that's another thing. I'm actually going to go, there's the two things that I want to say. So this one, I guess, the attack / save, we still have that there. So if there's like an attack roll that needs to be made or a saving throw that needs to be made, we put the DC there. And then this one, instead of like damage or buff, I'm going to just change this to, or we'll say imbibement type. That just sounds better, I guess, like more professional. Imbibement type. The idea being, again, active, passive, so on and so forth. So that's good. And then I actually want to change that in our template here. And so this is going to be instead imbibement type. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we got that all taken care of. There's just something that I was thinking about, and I was like, I just have this thing that I put there that's like ultimately useless because I don't use it. So let's either get rid of it or make it useful. Here we are. So I think that's actually really good. I don't think we need to put any additional notes on there. I think we have all that we need there. So the type of item it can enchant. So it can really be any held or worn item, right? So you could, in theory, put this on like your shield or something like that, right? And so you can hold it and speak the command word, and the shield will create a barrier for you. Stuff like that is the idea behind this one. This one actually would be a really good one to put on armor. Now that I think about it, be like magical. It'd be like a magical force field bubble armor or something. Excuse me, I apologize. Oh, that's coffee burps are not excellent. I'm gonna go ahead and make that declarative statement right now. Not excellent. Going back for more though. All right, that's good. So an example item, I actually like the idea of the shield. I think I'm just gonna come up with a name here. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with a name. Your man. Yermenia's. There we go. I'm just making up a name, just coming up with random syllables. Yermenia's. Yermenia's shield, and that's just what it is. Because Yermenia is a hero, so The legendary hero Earmenia was known the world over as the wizard, wizard, I don't know, stomper, the wizard hunter, the wizards from the world over as wizard's bane, due to her customized shield that could make her immune to most magics sent her way. She became famous as a bounty hunter, specializing in capturing, there it is. Yeah, specializing in capturing criminal, or instead of criminal, we're gonna say wanted. Because not every wanted person is a criminal, especially when we're talking like medieval justice. So, capturing wanted spellcasters. Boom. Okay. Do that. Perfect. Perfection. I think that's great. I like it. Simple as that. Yeah, like the thing with these example items too. Like I started doing it just as a way to sort of serve as like a memory trigger, so when I come back to this, you know, in months or years, when suddenly like it becomes relevant to have a rune of globe of invulnerability, you know, I can understand kind of where my mind was at when I was making it. But it's also kind of turned into a way for me to think about providing, like there's a part of me that wants to, excuse me, expand this project to, when we give an example like this, use that as just sort of like a world building prompt to then, you know, write out the history of Earmenia and sort of plant her within my fictional world. So that way it's like when I eventually write or run a campaign within the area that this hero was planted in, you know, suddenly I could just sort of add those things, and it's like pre-made stuff to do as part of this project. I kind of want to do that. Kind of really want to do that. I'm right now debating if I'm going to bother doing that today. We'll finish making this and we'll see what I'm feeling. See what I'm feeling. Yeah, that's great. But we've got the basics here. So now let's talk about what happens if our players accidentally create a sentient item here. So now remember, sentience is always positive for the owner. So that way it serves as a contrast to cursed, which is always potentially very negative for the owner. So, and the reason I specify that is because I know it can cause some confusion when thinking about, okay, what does an evil sentient item do? The evil item has no interest in harming the owner of the item. One way or another, the sentient item, basically the sentient item has goals in some way, shape, or form, but it recognizes that it's an object, right? Like it's other than being able to, like, the idea is that they speak directly to the mind of the owner or whatever, and so they recognize that despite being able to think, they're still largely an inanimate object, and so they want to work with the owner, you know, because the sentient item will view its owner's glory as its own glory as well, right? It wants to be part of that winning team, and so the concept of an evil sentient item is not that it wants to hurt the owner, rather it's that it's a real dickhead and really wants to hurt everyone else in order to enhance the owner's glory, right? Whereas like a good sentient item is like more along the lines of it wants to help the owner owner's renown by helping other people as well, kind of. Well, not even necessarily that. It's like it wants to help the owner, just like excessively helpful to it rather than being a dick to others. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of like how like if you have a friend, your friend can make you look better in two ways. They can either build you up, which is the good, or they can cut everyone else down, which is what, you know, the evil would be. That's like your wingman can either make you look cool by talking about your strong suits, or they can make you look cool by making everyone else around you at the bar look like a total jerk bag, right? So it's like what type of wingman is it? Is it a good one or a negative one? And then lawful and chaotic. Lawful is more so it just has a very narrowed and focused effort to what it's doing, and chaotic is more so it just like throws whatever it can at the wall to see what sticks. Kind of the idea there. So that's kind of where we're going with all of this stuff, and it'll be more clear as I'm making examples. So if it's good, so my thought here is spell of 5th level or lower, cast from outside the barrier, can't affect creatures or objects within it, even if the spell is cast using a higher level spell slot. Such a spell can target creatures and objects within the barrier, but the spell has no effect on them. Similarly, the area within the barrier is excluded from the areas affected by such spells. So okay, so here's what I'm thinking. It can't affect creatures or objects within it. So the item wants to keep owner safe at all costs, right? So that's kind of the generalized attitude that this good item is doing. Like it kind of, all of them as a baseline want to protect the owner, but this one's like, it's really there. Like this one's not just like hired bodyguard level. This is like golden retriever level wanting to protect you. Keep the owner safe at all costs. And what I'm going to say is, see, the trick with it is always I try to keep it thematic, right? I don't want it to just like randomly this globe of vulnerability. Oh, also it gives you 2 HP for every round that you're in it for, you know, eventually since it lasts 1 minute. That's 10 rounds. So it like ultimately 20 HP back or whatever over the life of it. Like I don't like doing that, just like random benefits. I like trying to keep it thematic here. So wants to keep its owner safe at all costs. It will, here's what I'm gonna say. It will analyze the magic that it blocks and warn the owner about the nature of it. We'll say, and what we'll say is, School of Magic, general effect type, and spell level. We'll say, and what I'm going to do is say, and general power of the spell, and then we'll do spell level as like the meta explanation of it. So it's like, it'll say like, okay, they're casting, you know, they're casting, you know, this school of magic spell at you. It's gonna cause necrotic damage. You know, it's like it can do necrotic damage, and it's at a level 4. So that way, it's like it's giving the owner some clues about who they're facing, right? Is the idea. It's trying to clue them in and say like, hey, this guy is like super dangerous, or even like, okay, yeah, it's like okay, yeah, this person's doing, you know, a basic cantrip fire type spell. You don't really got to worry about this guy's magical abilities right now. You know, it's like the idea, and that can still be fooled depending on how the what type of spell and how it kind of pans out and everything. But yeah. So evil, what I want to say is the item wants revenge on those that try to hurt its owner. And so what I'm thinking for this one is it will have the chance to reflect spells back towards the original caster. And we'll say, what we'll say is, I'm going to sort of mechanically just say, cast the same spell back at owner, but at disadvantage, and for only half damage if successful, right? So it's like it's weakened. So it's like if someone tries to do like a lightning bolt or whatever and it hits, then whoever received it can then try to cast it back, but at disadvantage and at half health, right? So it's like if it's an auto hit thing, then it'll automatically hit back, but at half damage. So if it's like magic missile, then it's like, you know, roll a d4 for the damage of each one. Oh, you roll the 3. Okay, half damage, that's 1 damage, right? So it's like it doesn't do a whole lot of damage if it's an auto hit. Meanwhile, if it's some big giant, you know, like Palpatine level lightning damage, then, you know, you're at disadvantage to hit him. But if you get it, like, hey, that's a couple d10 of damage or whatever the spell entails. I think that's kind of cool. I like that one. I like both of those. Okay, so now if it's lawful, I think what we'll do for being lawful, the item narrows its focus on the owner alone, but for an increase in power. And so what we'll say is the effect radius is only 5 feet, but we'll change that and we'll say, but it stops magic of level equal to the imbibement. Right, so it's like, so the baseline is this is a level 6 spell imbibement, right? So this is level 6 one. And usually it's any spell level 5th level or lower, right? So now we're making it so it's 6th level or lower. So it narrows its focus, so you can't use that to protect any companions, right? Because a 10-foot radius means that anyone next to you is also protected by it, is the concept. So in this situation, we're taking that away, but it increases the protection. And then chaotic, what I think I want to do is the item also tries to protect nearby creatures with the owner. And we'll say the effect radius is 15 feet, but it only stops magic it's not magic, magic of 4th level or lower. Actually, we'll say it stops magic at a level equal to the imbibement. Imbibement, there it is, minus 2, right? Because usually it's -1, right? Because if you do it as a 6 and it only stops level 5s, then it's, you know, -1. That makes it that, so 6 minus 1, that's 5. So now it's -2, so it's only 4th or lower, but it'll get more people in there. So I think I actually like those. I think those are good ones. I'm actually kind of impressed. Usually it's a lot harder to come up with ideas for that for that part of everything. So I'm pretty happy with how that panned out. Great. So let's go ahead and say, now let's do if it's a cursed item. Now you can see here, I always with a cursed item, I always try to give it an extra powerful benefit, but then there's a problematic side effect, right? So it's like, and the idea is to try and balance that, so that way it's like the problematic side effect could end up being a really bad situation for the owner, but they might still be willing to use it, right? So it's like the conventionally cursed items are kind of meant to be more like a trick. Like you don't know it's cursed, and then you grab it and suddenly it's like, oh no, it's zapping my health 24/7, and it's like an obviously bad thing that you want to get rid of, is kind of the baseline for a lot of cursed items. I think that's a little one-dimensional. I like to make it a little more complicated, and the way I do that is by making it so that it's like, it's pretty clear this is a cursed item, but the benefits might make it worthwhile to use. A really, really good example of how I like to structure my cursed items is the One Ring from Lord of the Rings, right? Because it's like, it makes you imperceptible to your average creature, right? Like, you're invisible. That is awesome, almost overpowered, except that putting it on makes it so that the ring can call to Sauron, right? And it also calls to, you know, the wraiths and all them. So it makes you invisible to your average enemy, but makes you hyper visible to all of like the really dangerous enemies. You know, and so I think that's such a good one, because depending on the scenario, you could still be enticed to use that item, right? And then of course that one is always like, as you use it more, you succumb more and more to the ring. But you know, so I try to not worry too much about taking it to that level, just because, oh my god, that'd be so much to track. That'd be so much to have to pay attention to. Ugh. No, thank you. But yeah, so that's the principle behind it. So like for the, oops. Undo that. I didn't mean that. So for an extra powerful benefit, it's more power. Oh, I don't know. What would be a good extra powerful benefit? Almost feel like you can make it so that it, when active, anyone within the radius is completely immune to all magic of any level. Is kind of what my thought is. The other thing that I can't help but think is something that would be really interesting is it becomes passive. So rather than immune to any to all magic of any level, right? It follows its standard magical parameters, but it becomes passive. So it's always active when you do it. But the side effect, like my thought is on the side effect, is that it makes it so the wearer also can't receive positive magical effects, right? Which I think is kind of part of it, right? Any spell of 5th level or lower cast from outside the barrier can't affect creatures or objects within it, even if the spell is cast using a higher level spell slot. So what my thought is we can, I actually like this better. The item becomes passive, meaning it is always active on the owner of the item. Problematic side effect is cannot be deactivated, and so positive spells cannot affect the owner either. And so like that could be, I feel like that could actually be a really interesting conundrum for someone. Like, are they willing to sacrifice things like bless, you know, things like hunter's mark benefits or fairy light benefits or anything like that, right? I guess some of the benefits would still kind of be there, but then at the same time, I guess something like fairy lights, right? Cause like the one, I think it's fairy lights, where it like highlights the enemy, and if all you can do is if you're doing melee, then you get next to it and it's with a 10 foot radius, it would deactivate that, right? Because, or it would make it so that that was inactive. It can't do anything because it would cancel out the spell. Cast from outside the barrier can't affect creatures or objects within it, even if the spell is using area within the barrier is barrier is excluded from areas affected by such spells. I guess it doesn't really specify whether or not it would end up stopping or canceling nearby magic. But even so, even then, like, ignoring that hyper-specific situation, I think it's really interesting. And the debate, too, is, does that mean... does that include health potions? So that when you own that item, the only way for you to heal yourself is to take a long rest or use your hit dice. I feel okay. So here's how I feel like I would define this one or determine this if I were the DM. The way this is written, by like the globe of invulnerability, right? An immobile, faintly shimmering barrier springs into existence in a 10-foot radius around the item and remains for the duration. That says to me that the barrier basically just stops magic. So my thought is any magic that has to go through that barrier is canceled. But any magic that begins within that barrier and acts within that barrier wouldn't be canceled, right? So the idea, I guess the theory is that something like lay on hands might still work because the magical person walks through the barrier, and if they're inside the barrier, then they can cast it, right? So say with your potions, your potions are always inside the barrier, so they still have their magical impact. But I guess that means if someone were to try to hand you a potion, it would deactivate that potion because the magic is going through that barrier. That'd be bad. I like this item. This is really cool. This is a really cool cursed item. What it takes to remove must be removed magically. If the player, or if the owner, tries to abandon the item, think here. So the owner tries to abandon the item. So I guess, so, and this is actually something I've been thinking a lot about. I kind of want to specify this a little bit more when I say must be removed magically. Player tries to abandon it. So, like, here's the thing, and I guess here's what I want to say about it, too. Player tries to abandon it without magic. And do this. I've been thinking a lot about this one too, same as with others. I kind of want to make this a bit more in-depth and give people the option to still try it, but have it possibly be really, really damaging to them. Player must make a Constitution save. And we'll set it to DC. Like, and for a curse thing, I almost want to set it to like set the save to DC of 10 plus the spell level, maybe plus the spell level and a half or something like that. So that way it's like it's really challenging because this is a cursed one. So it would be like a 19 for this. And I'm not afraid to make that super difficult because this is a cursed item, right? Getting rid of a cursed item is a big deal. If successful, the item can be left. But we'll say can be left, but if anyone else takes it, the curse is transferred. And that to me, kind of that is standard verbiage, right? So it's like if you succeed, you can leave it. Yeah, and actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just going to do this. I feel like we don't need to make those like sub bullets there. But so now, like, so if they succeed, they can leave it behind and everything, and they're like good to go. And actually, I'm going to change the order of these things because I want to add one more caveat to this situation. But we can, Noleko, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. And I also just noticed I did not change my, my alerts, from the Fallout ones I was using before. Hold on, let me take care of that real quick. I gotta keep them theme appropriate. We're not playing Fallout right now. gotta make these, gotta make everything uniform. Not because anyone else cares, but because I care. I have problems letting things go. There, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're having a good time. But what I want to do for this, okay, so here's what I'm thinking. If fail, so like again, I want to keep it thematic, right? And so because this is like magical protection, my thought is, like, I like to try and make it so like it is a constant, what am I trying to say here? Like a growing, a stepwise growing negative or something like that. Icon save DC is a must. Absolutely, yeah. Like we're talking cursed items here. You don't just get to be like, oh, it's a cursed item. Oh, I rolled a 12. Bye. That's not a curse. That's a minor inconvenience. We're talking cursed items here. Like maybe for a cursed cantrip, because a cursed cantrip is something along the lines of like that's a bee sting, right? We're talking a cursed level 6 spell imbibement here. Yeah, it's got to be big. And so the impacts of it have to be big too. So if you fail, it has to matter. And so it's like, you know, for a health-based thing, it's real easy because then you can just say like your health decreases, your maximum health decreases by, you know, 1d4 or 1d6 or whatever, and you just make that permanent, right? And it's like, yeah, that's it. And like if you keep trying it, it could eventually kill you, and is the theory. So haunted bee sting. Oh my god, ghostly bee sting. That would be. I don't even know if I would dislike that. That'd be kind of cool. It's sung by a ghost bee today. How many people can say that that's how their day went? But I'm thinking with this one, this might be kind of complicated to word it, but like it's worth it because we're trying to make a cursed item here. If fail, future saves against magical effects have a -1 modifier, stacks for each failed attempt. So you'd have to have the player do like a custom mark and write it down, and you'd have to know it. Like this isn't a standard thing that you would track on your character sheet, but all of this is homebrew and non-standard. So screw it, let's go for it, right? Like let's just dive in. Let's dive into the deep, murky, muddy waters of confusing homebrew. It's like screw it. We're just it's as much a thought exercise as anything else. So I'm here for it. Stacks for each failed attempt, right? So it'd be -1 if you failed once, if you failed twice, 2, so on and so forth, until eventually you can get to a thought where it's like it's impossible for you to succeed on a spell save or something like that. Is kind of what my idea is, because this one protects you from magic. So if you try to get rid of it, it's gonna have the opposite effect. And then what I want to do is, if successful, the item can be left, but if anyone else takes it, the curse is transferred. And we'll also say, leaving the item does not undo the effects of failed attempts. So it's like it's permanent. Like if you were trying to do this, it's a permanent curse, right? Unless you get healed up magically or something like that. Maybe we'll do a does not undo leaving the item does not undo failed attempts, but You know, and I'm not even going to put it in there because I would say that the baseline, the concept there is that it could be magically cured, right? If you can find someone that can magically remove impacts or something like that, but it's like you can't just like potion your way from that, away from these effects. So yeah, I think that's perfect. And the only other thing I'm gonna do is just for the sake of organizing, because it always bothers me when I do this and I have like a pointless like bullet here, right? Because if there's only one thing, you don't need a bullet here, so we can just do it as sentence. Must be removed magically if player tries to abandon it without magic. Boom. Right, so it's like the save if they fail and if they're successful. I want to start doing that more. I haven't been doing that much detail, but I want to start doing that because it just makes things so much more interesting. I like that. I think that's a really good enchantment option there. Oh, good. It's another spam call on my work phone. I just have to keep my work phone nearby just in case, because like I'm kind of like on call. But I have lately been absolutely getting blitzed by spam calls. Discussing, instead of like the new thing, apparently the new thing isn't like, you know how it's always, you know, your car warranty or whatever. Apparently they're not that worried about my car right now. Now they're super worried about my student loans. And about twice a day on my work phone, not on my personal phone, only on my work phone. About twice a day, I get a random call from a random place in the United States. We're talking random, like entirely different states every time. And it like rings for half a ring. And then I get a voicemail from the same person. It's the same young lady who leaves me a message about it. Somehow she's every day, multiple times per day, traveling between multiple states. I'm starting to think it might be a robot. Just call it a hunch. Spam is the worst. Like, people wonder, like, my coworkers wonder, they're like, why do you screen your calls? I'm like, because I get so much spam on this stupid phone. Because, like, at my job, they recycle phone numbers. Like, when someone retires or someone leaves, they'll recycle the phone numbers, right? But because of that, you get people who will come in, and this is, like, it's becoming less of a problem these days with new numbers, because more and more people just want, like, have their own cell phone. That's their personal phone, and they separate that. But like back in the day, like if you get a phone from some old guy who retired at 70, right? They still have a landline, and they consider that their personal phone, and they start using their work cell phone as a personal cell phone because they don't want to have to pay for a landline and a cell phone, and they never caught on to the fact that your cell phone is as good as a landline. So you get these things. So like this phone number, I finally been working here long enough, at almost 3 years. I've almost been at this job long enough that I'm finally stopping getting calls from people about appointments for past owners of the phone number. And like I would get calls, they'd be like, are you so-and-so's dad? We're calling from such and such daycare. I'm like, no, don't have any children. This person does not have this phone anymore. They're like, oh, I'll take it off the emergency contacts. I'm just sitting there thinking like, what? Why hasn't this person updated the emergency contacts at their child's like elementary school or whatever? Why is that out of date? I'm glad I'm not their child. Jeez, Pete's, man. At any rate, sorry. Long tangent. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Number on the website. Personal phones just work too. Okay, gotcha. So they do the thing where they give you like a stipend. And Papua New Guinea. Well, at least those are like interesting ones. I just get calls from like Iowa. There's nothing, even if it wasn't spam, I don't want to accept a call from Iowa. There's nothing fun happening in Iowa. Sorry, any Iowans out there, but it's true and you know it. Like Des Moines exists because it's like one of the most central points in America, so it's equally inconvenient for everyone in the world to drive through. Change my mind about that. I dare you. Sorry, that got a little heated. My apologies. Second phone numbers. See, yeah, I think it's a business thing. Because I think it costs money to have to activate a new line. Whereas if they just keep the same number and hand it off to like the new person. Not entirely dissimilar to how a lot of places, again, when they would have landlines, it would just be like, you know, that number is the HR number. So if you're the new HR rep, you know, you go in and you get the HR office, you get the HR phone, which has the same HR number because it's the same extension within the business number. It's the same concept, is what I think it is. Like, I don't think you get it nearly as often with personal numbers, but I think with businesses, they still kind of treat it that way. Because it's like, you know, with me getting the number recycled, you know, it's like I filled someone's position after they retired or whatever happened. I don't really know what happened to the person before me, whether they moved to a different job or they retired. Doesn't matter. They were never my coworker because I replaced them. But, like, it's still kind of beneficial for me to have the same number because I work with the public. And so if people wanted, like, and I took over that person's, you know, position. So it's like if they needed the air quality advisor, right, you know, for that region, for the region that I cover, they still needed, you know, they still need that number. So it's like even if they don't get the person who had that number beforehand, they're at least at the right position, so I can just be like, oh yeah, I'm the new guy, how can I help you? So, oh yeah, that would be really handy. Yeah, I don't know, I'm not in charge of those business decisions, but all I know is I get way more spam on my work number than my personal number, and that just ain't right. That just ain't right. It's definitely gotten better because I try to make it a point. I try to make it a point to, if I don't know the number, if the number's at least not local, I don't answer it. And then if they leave a message and it's important, then I'll call them back. Not that big a deal. I can just say, like, sorry, I was in a meeting. Work number. Like, whatever. But yeah, everyone wonders why I screen my calls. I'm like, this is why. All this bullshit happens all the time. Anywho, rant over, I guess, for now. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, coffee belches. I don't know what's going on with my GI today, but I'm burpy. Ugh, not pleasant. I like coffee going down, but coming up, coffee burps, not excellent. Not excellent. Just kind of stale. We're done with the coffee for today anyway. At any rate, there we go. There's a good enchanted item. And now I'm still debating. So I've been thinking more and more about doing this, and I haven't been doing it. But I'm thinking about doing it where yeah, you do, right? I get my hand out the way, right there. Yeah, there she is. That's my precious fuzzball. My little one-eyed cretin. That's Leela. She will probably, before the stream is over, wake up from her nap and come over and demand attention. It's what she does. It's actually been quite peaceful with her sleeping over there. She's usually up and down, back and forth, like coming over trying to demand attention before getting distracted by birds outside the window or something. She's a sweetie, but she's also a butthole, so, you know, she's a cat. Oh, boy. Yeah, there's a good chance that she'll come over before the stream is over. She always does, and she's way more popular than me. I recognize and accept it. That cats are much more exciting than I am. It's okay. I agree. You know, it's why I spend more time looking at her than I do looking in the mirror. I get it. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I was talking about, like, I've been debating more and more. So like I do these like this rune project as a way to just sort of warm up the brain space before working on the campaign, and I've been kind of in a habit of, like, I'd do 2 of these things and then we'd go work on our campaign. But I've been thinking about sort of expanding the project here, and instead of doing like 2 imbibements, because I take the time to like invent an example item about it, I kind of want to take the time and instead just do like 1 of these, and then like plant the item somewhere, the example item somewhere in my world, right, in my homebrew world that everything takes place in, to just sort of like have a world building exercise, because it sounds fun. So I kind of want to do that. I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because it's my stream and I can do what I want, and I want to do it. So sorry, got a little power trippy there. great idea. Cool. All right, yeah. If people are on board, then all the more reason. Let me load up my world map here. Let's get Wonder Draft going here so we can get our world map, and let's just like plop this sucker down. Let's do it. Open says me. Open the world map for me, please. Low adding. Boom! There we are. There's Zaoria. What a beautiful world. So many places we could drop this item. So many fun, exciting locations. Man. This world is literally my plaything. I can put it to wherever I so choose. But the item we invented, so the example item, Yermenia's shield, just a random made-up name. The legendary hero Yermenia was known the world over as the Wizard's Bane due to her customized shield that could make her immune to most magics sent her way. She became famous as a bounty hunter, specializing in capturing wanted spellcasters. So she was world famous, but I feel like we need to decide. Like okay, so here's the thing. So the state of this world too, just to give the rundown to anyone who doesn't know. This is my homebrew world. It is a post-apocalyptic world, but like in a D&D way. And so the way I always describe it is, if you think about like the expanded lore of D&D and like all the different planes of existence, you know, you got your ethereal planes, you've got your ethereal planes, you've got your your elemental planes, and you got your mortal realm and all that kind of stuff. Imagine that those are like a jar that's full of different liquids that are different densities, right? So they all kind of percolate into separate layers that when you just leave the jar there, they're at those separate layers, right? So it's like you can go from one layer to another, but it has to be a very pointed, intentional thing that you make happen. As a baseline, the layers stay separate, and that's like the state of the world. There was an event called the Unhinging, and no one really knows why it happened, but there's an event called the Unhinging where it's like someone took that jar and they shook it all up. So that now you got little blobs of one area in the wrong layer and all that kind of stuff, and you've got, and so what that translates to in the world is you've got all these rips and tears in reality. You've got like sections of one realm that's just been plopped in another realm. You have like from these rips and tears and horrible places, you have all this magical radiation that's causing all these weird twisted effects on anything that's close by, all of them, and everything just kind of went all higgledy-piggledy on us. And the result was that within the mortal realm, there were only a handful of cities that were the right combination of being far away from those incident sites, as well as having the proper fortifications to handle all of the horrible monsters that started showing up in the world to survive. So we've got about 11 or 12 fortified surviving cities, and the rest of the world just kind of fell to ruin and is called the Wilds. So whenever we're putting in items and stuff like that, my thought is that the items are basically like, these are items that are essentially forgotten at this point in time because whoever owned them probably didn't survive the Unhinging if they were still alive at all. It could be like a very, very historic item that was already a historic thing. So item and location, then history and historical NPCs. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly like what my motivation was for this, because like I've always loved the aesthetic of So, okay, so one of my first inspirations that got me into the hobby of world building was playing, watching my sister, because I was just a real little kid at the time, but watching my sister play the original Myst and Riven games, right? And like the idea of a world existing within a book just fascinated me, especially the idea of them being kind of like abandoned, and you were just exploring these like abandoned worlds that have like puzzles and things for you to discover so you can learn about that history. And then expand that to like, I always love the aesthetic of like Shadow of the Colossus, right? Where you have just like kind of this big empty world that's like still super dangerous to be in and all that kind of stuff. I just, that stuff fascinates me. And so this world is sort of created to facilitate exploring abandoned and forgotten places, right? And so you throw in stories and intrigue for the sake of a D&D campaign, right? And that's what the actual existing cities are for. But that's the basic premise behind it. So when I'm thinking about, I don't even remember her name, Yermenia's shield here, I'm trying to think about where she could have been hunting some wizard somewhere, right? And when everything happened, and it's like, and like the best way to do it too, as far as I'm concerned, is not to think about, oh, I should plant it in a place that I'm presently working on a campaign or running a campaign or have a campaign, and rather just think about the world and where she would have been working. And so I feel like there's two options for where we can place this thing. Either she was in one of the larger cities helping them deal with like an evil wizard or a wizard that was a criminal or something like that, right? Because that's what she's known as. Or she is somewhere very removed going after a wanted magicman who's on the lam. He's running from the law or something like that. So it's either on one of these cities or in some random place, which narrows it down exactly 0, because pretty much every location is either a city or a random not city place. But thinking about where wizards would be, my thought is that it would either be in like the foothills of some mountains somewhere. It would be in a swampy area, either the frost marsh or the sunken grasslands. Or deep in a forest where you have like a reclusive wizard. So in one of those areas, right? Because I don't see a wizard necessarily just like setting up shack right in the middle of an open plain, right? Like they're kind of like, if he wants to be reclusive in the middle of an open, flat terrain field, probably not a great place for him to go. Excuse me. Oh man, I apologize. Maybe I shouldn't be done with the coffee. Maybe I need a bit more. I like the idea of putting it in the frost marsh. Because I can kind of envision this idea of she was going after, maybe there's like some sort of hag or something living down there, that was like troubling one of the coastal cities up here or whatever, or it was like troubling ships that were, running trade routes between anywhere else and Holochula there, the city. And so it's like somewhere down there she was like hunting a hag or some sort of magical creature that lived in there, because the frost marsh I've always thought would be like, even though it's a swamp, it's like a swampy area that's like become home to frost giants since the unhinging. Like frost giants have kind of come to the area and made that area their home. And so it's like I can see this situation where like she was hired to go handle some magical creature, and then she just kind of got squished by a frost giant, right? Because it's like the frost giant really isn't relying on magic, it's relying on smash her. And that's just what happened, is sort of the idea that I have. So let's see. So there's like, if we're going to do this lore, we basically have 2 pages within our notebook that we can fill up. One of them is the artifacts here. I gotta update this actually. This doesn't really match with the way I've been handling things lately. I guess it kind of can. Not really. I'll have to modify this. We'll work on that. But we want to do that one, and I also want to do not really friends and foes, is it? It would be more so history, and we would put it in the people section. We would put her in there, and I feel like that's what we need if we want to just kind of plant this situation. We can put the artifact page, and then the hang it, history, there we go, and then the your mania page. Yeah. See, so I want to, okay, I don't have, here we go, we have this. We're gonna take this, I'm gonna copy that, I'm gonna put that in history. So I've got a little template there. It makes it easier for me to remember everything, and it makes it look pretty. And so it's like, if it's gonna look pretty, I want it to look pretty. So we're gonna make that a subpage, because it's a subpage of the people. And we're going to your mania. Is that how I spelled it? Or is it magic? Magique. Your mania. Yeah, your mania needs a last name. Your mania. Your mania. I don't know, man. Nolterra. I don't know. Yeah, great. Minia Nolterra. Once a famous hunter of sorcerers. The memory. Wow. There it is. Memory of Hermenia has faded to all. Faded to all but the most dedicated of scholars. All but the most dedicated of scholars since her death during the unhinging. So I'm thinking that she died during the unhinging. Realistic name of characters. Yeah, 100%. You just come up with random syllables and smush them together, right? It's like trying to make a ball of mud, right? You just take little clumps of stuff and just. Actually, you know what? Let's make it a more artistic. Let's make it a more artistic analogy. It's like molding clay. You start off by taking random blobs of clay and you mush them together until you have a piece of art. So I take random syllables and I mush them together until I have a name that's a piece of art. Hermenia Nolterra. It's heroic. It's a beautiful name that's sung, or would have been sung by many if people were bothering to write songs while running from horrible creatures during the unhinging. Most didn't. Most just ran. I'm sure one or two tried to write a song while they were going. But I bet you they didn't survive. Just like, it's one thing to multitask, but it's another to just be dumb about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be limits to what we're working on here. Otherwise, it's just, you're just asking for trouble. Anyway, so history. We don't need to get super in depth with this. But yeah, I just want to actually, and you know what I'm gonna do here? Because history is assuming, I think history, it assumes that they're dead. Because if they're a still living person, they go in the friends and foes section, right? This is the section where we put character bios for interactable NPCs, and I don't think that's our situation here. We're talking history. And there's only one thing that I'm wondering. There's only one thing that I'm wondering. I guess I like it this way. The only other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add in one more blank page. We're going to do new page below. We're just going to make this, and we'll title that in a second once we decide. Oh, well, actually we have decided. So she is going to be in our frost marsh. Let's go ahead and put her like deep in the frost marsh in this place right here. So that's going to be S 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. S10 is the hex she's in. So just for the sake of organizing things, we're going to make an S10 section, and then we're going to make that a further subpage. So it doesn't, I wish OneNote would let me collapse things within there. I can only do the upper level. I can't collapse that one anymore. But at the very least, we've kind of got our organization going on here. But that way I can sort of think about trying to find, so it's like, and the reason I want to do that is so now, let's say one day in the future, I'm all like, in my atlas here, writing up a new campaign, because atlas is, the atlas is basically where I just compile everything for the campaign, because it's like, that's all the existing present day material for that region or whatever, so it's like the atlas for S10. If one day I am working on that, right, working on a campaign down there, then I can be all like, oh, have I already got some stuff kind of plopped down there? Let's go ahead and check our history here. Yes, we have Yermenia or Soul. It's like, it's the same with like factions. I have like you know, factions for each area and stuff like that planted down. And if they're in multiple areas, you can just kind of like cut and paste it and just have multiple instances of the same thing. Because like you might have the same faction in multiple areas, but each one's going to be regionally a little different, you know. Kind of like how, like, you know, Baptists in Alabama probably are a little different than Baptists in Washington or whatever. I don't know. Random example. Random example. Hey, Xanderfell, it's going well. Thank you for asking. Hope the same is true for you. Glad to see you here. But yeah, so, okay, so anyway, organizational discussions aside, history. Armenia, was always I like to just give like a basic character bio. It doesn't need to be like an in-depth thing where we explain all of her life's exploits. Because the thing is I want to give an idea about who this character is, because I have a thought on who this character is and why we've created them here. But if I, in the future, am going to make a campaign within the region that this character is going in, if I want to add a few more details for the sake of adding it to the campaign, it's nice to not be already locked into too much stuff, so that way when I'm writing you know, the campaign details, I have wiggle room with this character to, you know, make some of the exploits and details about it specific to that area if I so choose to just kind of add to the campaign that we're working on. Made a lot of progress with video game. That's awesome. That is awesome. Making video games is something that I've never approached, because there's just no way I have an understanding of the programming needed for it. Programming is just a weak spot for me. It wouldn't happen. I can come up with rules, but like making a computer follow them, don't have the ability to do that. Which is why I do D&D games. Because then all I got to do is come up with the rules and like write them in English sentences, and then it's like, great, got it. Alright, let's see here. So Armenia was always a, I don't know, precocious child. Unable, I don't know if precocious is the right word. Was always a justice seeking child who hated seeing others be bullied. See, this is what I mean, Xanderfell. Unity or C++. I don't understand what the difference between those would be, or what the difference between what you're doing and those are. It is 100% beyond me. I know those are programming languages, and beyond that, like anything you say about programming or building a video game, I could stand up and it would still be miles above my head. It's not anything. It's just not something, you know, we all have talents. We all have skills. I have many things that I'm good at. That's not one of them. Just not one of them. I'm a traditional English language writer at best. That's it. Let's see. Okay, so Armenia was always a justice-seeking child who hated seeing others be bullied. And growing up, she always tried to help the little help. Actually, we're gonna put it in quotes. The little guy, and eventually joined her town's guard in pursuit. Oops, I know how to spell pursuit. I promise. Of a professional version of this desire. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, even like I say, man, even using RPG Maker, like just trying to pull it all together to get a computer to behave. I can barely function programs as they are with existing user interfaces. Like trying to make a game, not there. Man, you're gonna sit there trying to explain what these programming languages are, and I'm telling you right now, it doesn't click with me. I have tried. I did one time. I have managed to, back when I was in like high school, I managed to program a graphing calculator to do equations for me. But even that was just like using an interface. But like, you're gonna sit there and you're gonna try and help me understand it, and it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna be the most frustrating student for you. I promise. I promise it's not gonna happen. I'm an idea I'm an idea man, not a make a video game happen man. All right, let's see here. Eventually joined her Times Guard in pursuit of a professional version of this desire. She rose in the ranks and was one of the most prominent members of the Guard, specializing in detective work and finding people not wanting to be found. One day, an opportunity presented itself for her to leave the local guard in exchange of and one day an opportunity presented itself for her to leave the local guard for a career as a bounty hunter. She took it, choosing to specialize in finding known violent and dangerous criminals. Let's see here. I mean, I guess I appreciate the ranked terms there, Xanderfell, but RPG Maker being level 5, I am level 0. I am level 0 in terms of making video games. It is well beyond me. Let's see. So she took it. So she took the opportunity, choosing to specialize in finding known violent and dangerous criminals. But for a long time, she still struggled. As did level 3. That's at least 3 levels higher than me, man. So well done. For a long time, she still struggled, as we'll say, along with nearly every bounty hunter. Well, actually, let's just say it this way. I'm gonna phrase that differently. But for a long time, she still struggled to find and capture those with magical abilities. Find and capture those with magical abilities. No thanks to her own inability to tap into magical energy. Let's see here. But as she completed more jobs and grew her personal budget, there came a point when she decided it was time to invest in her career field properly. She sought out an enchanter. She sought out an enchanter who would be able to help her protect herself. Herself. There it is. Protect herself against the dangers of magic. Thus, her shield of invulnerability came to be. Enchanted with the magic of glob of invulnerability. I like glob of invulnerability. I think that's better than globe. A glob of invulnerability. It's not a perfect sphere. It's just an amoebus form that surrounds you. It's kind of slimy, a little difficult to move through. Anyway, enchanted with the magic of globe of invulnerability. The shield became her primary tool for the capture and hog tying of magical foes. Boom. Loads to learn and figure out. I mean, honestly, that's just life in general, Xanderfell. Like, if there's always tons of stuff for all of us to learn, but I think it's cool that you're taking the time to learn it to make a game. That's awesome. Must be blown like chewing gum to cast. Ooh, I like that. I like that. This is my glob of invulnerability. And like, I think my favorite part about that too is the concept that it would have to be reused. So you're just always carrying around in your pocket a wad of used chewing gum. And like, the other thing that I like about that is sort of the inherent natural theft protection that offers, because someone else taking that item would be able to use it, but they'd have to be willing to chew used gum. Ugh. Like that scene in Elf. Ugh. Ugh. God, because like, can you imagine how someone would get that? Like, they'd have to pickpocket someone, and so they'd find like a used wad of gum covered in lint in someone's pocket, or if they drop it, it would just be like on like the road, maybe next to a pile of horse dung, because it's medieval times that we're talking about here. Oh, oh. Like, I would hate that actually, because like, if I were just a Butterfingers and I like a Klutz and I dropped it myself, then I'd never get to use it again. I'd never get to use my own item again. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, no thank you. No thank you. Oh, do not want. Do not want. Xanderfell, you are just so determined to get me to learn how to make a video game, aren't you? If I have time, I'll check it out. You are the most determined person I've ever met to make me know how to make a video game. Oh boy. I like a glob of invulnerability. I'm gonna have to put that one in the back pocket and make that an item for someone one of these days. But yeah, thus her shield of invulnerability came to be. Enchanted with the magic of glob of invulnerability, the shield became her primary tool for the capture and hog-tying of magical foes, allowing her to safely approach said enemies without fear of horrible things like disintegration or disintegration or immolation. Oh boy. Oh boy. I like that. Unfortunately, the shield, okay, dang it, I'll get it. There it is, the shield. Unfortunately, the shield, could not save her from the unhinging. While hunting a frost hag. I don't know if it's a real thing. It is now. I have now made frost hags canon. Even if they're not, I've done it. They are canon in Zaoria. While hunting a frost hag. Let's see. While hunting a frost hag in the frozen marsh, the unhinging swept over the world in an unexpected twist of fate. Herminia found herself. Okay, okay, this is one thing that I love about OneNote. I have used the word Yermenia enough that it's just been like, fine, we'll add it to the dictionary, you weirdo. Like, it adds the words and the names I make up, and I love it. I absolutely love it. A chance of making a good game. I mean, that might be, you might be thinking about story-wise, but again, that's why I stick with D&D, because in terms of writing ideas, great. In terms of making a computer behave and make those ideas, Not gonna happen. Winter hags are canon, so close enough. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Great. We're gonna go ahead and make it. Well, we'll just go ahead and make it even easier to have it be canon. A winter hag. Come up with an intro for it. It's okay. My suggestion for coming up with intros: don't try to write a start. Just try to fall into a day in the life, right? So it's like, don't think of a story as having a beginning or an end. Think about a story as being the snapshot of someone's life, right? So like, think about, like, don't try to have a perfect start. Don't try to act like everything starts right there. Just understand that the story starts where you start focusing on it, right? There's a story that exists before and a story that exists after the end of it, right? You're just taking a snapshot, right? That's like why things like fan fictions and sequels exist. So don't try to, don't try to create, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Just start writing by going, this was happening, and therefore this happened. And just like start it there. Don't worry about it being a beginning. Start it with an event that kicks off further events. So just try framing it that way, and that might help. Because I think we get caught up a lot of times trying to be like, how do I perfectly set the scene? Don't worry about that when you're starting. Just like say why anything is happening at all, right? Because you know that there's going to be something happening. So transferred from real world to fantasy world. Honestly, that just makes it easier as far as I'm concerned. Because why are you telling the story at all? Right? Like, that's what you got to think about. Why are you telling the story at all? What is worth telling about this? And there will be a natural point where, like, the first thing that triggered all of the following events will occur, right? So, like, this campaign that we're doing right now, right? So think about the campaign that I've been working on. We'll sidestep. We'll get back to your mini in a minute, right? Think about our story that we're doing right now in this campaign project, right? It's taking place in here. There is a beginning and an end to this story, but there's stuff that happens before and afterwards, right? So in this situation, we're talking about, a campaign to find a bunch of keys to find access to this one place. The thing that kicks this particular bit of story off is our characters encountering a dragon that is either basically going to kill them or let them survive by helping him find these keys. That's the event that kicks it off, right? But there's stuff that's happening beforehand. I'm not starting it way up here when there's this first quest that brings them down here, right? We're just saying, like, I knew I wanted to have a treasure hunt within all these areas, so it's like, okay, what kicks that off? There's a dragon, and it wants stuff. Just start like that, and then, like, that is your beginning, right? It's a snapshot in the life of our characters. We're not following our characters from birth or anything like that. It's just a snapshot in their life. So try thinking about it that way. Like, when you've got your characters, if you know what you want your characters to ultimately do, then just think about what was the first thing that they did to start this particular chapter in their lives, right? Like, if it's like a love story, it's like, okay, so that really this particular love story of so-and-so meeting so-and-so and falling in love begins, when they first decide to go to the place that they're going to meet the person they fall in love, right? So it's like, that's your beginning. You're not trying to come up with some sort of perfect description. You're just saying, like, this was the first event. He went to this place, therefore he met so-and-so, therefore they fell in love, therefore the end, right? It's like, start as simple and obvious as that, and then you start expanding on the details. But that's my advice. I don't know. I don't know exactly what you're writing or anything like that, but there's free unwarranted advice. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Hopefully that's helpful in some way, shape, or form. But okay, let's hear Yermenia. In an unexpected twist of fate, Yermenia found herself surrounded by we'll just say cluster of frost giants. Though her shield was powerful, it could do nothing against the stomping power of 5 giants. She perished in that swamp, destined to be forgotten. Destined to be forgotten by a world preoccupied with things like with things like strange giants suddenly appearing in the world. Boom, there we go. And that's the history of your menu. That's all we need. Motivations, role-playing notes, not existent. We don't really need those things. Stat blocks, character sheets, we don't need that. This is a historical figure. And just go ahead and get rid of those. World tie-ins, you can add like little details and stuff like that about her. But honestly, that's kind of all we need for this. If there's ever any more details that we need, it'll be much more related to our players interacting with like her body or her items and things like that. So, yeah, that's good enough for her. So now we got to go to our artifacts here. And so I think, again, so this stuff here, we don't really need this. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and make the move. I want to make the move, and we're just going to delete. This isn't helpful. I don't need it. It's a distraction. Yes. Make those pages go bye-bye. Mirror of Understanding, I want to keep that because we're eventually going to flesh that out. That's for our campaign. We'll keep that. But for now, artifacts, we are going to new page here, and we're going to do our organizational nonsense. So there's our region, and now new page, blue. Bada bing, bada boom. Make a sub page. There we go. We'll say Yermania's shield. Hang on, why can't I ever spell shield right? Oh boy, we got a paragraph. All right, hold on, let me catch up. Nobles, ladies, nobles, their duties. With parents die by the time you become an adult. We're better than them. Responsible Lord. A hero going on a quest to save the world. The Lord trying to restore your family's respect, prestige, and wealth. Okay, yeah, so like the beginning is just like have the beginning be at your parents' funeral. Bada bing, bada boom. That's the first event that leads to this, right? Because you're trying to do better than them. So that's what kicks the whole thing off, right? So there's your beginning. You're just like, you're at a funeral. It's your parents' funeral or whatever. Like, you know, whatever the you know, whichever one is the most one, because that's when you get control of the family, right? So there you go. That's the beginning of your snapshot, right? Because like, while there are other things about it, you going on your quest to, you know, be better than your parents sort of begins when you have the freedom to then be in their shoes, is what I would say. So, like, I think that's the beginning of your thing right there. Simple as that. Simple as that. Let's see. Okay, I need to... Hold on. It bothers me that I have yet to... Let's delete this page. It bothers me that I have yet to make an artifact... Let's see. Do I have it in here? Where do I have... No, Atlas. Okay, templates. Territory, shop, mission, dungeon, template. Okay, I haven't made an item template yet, which bothers me. We'll just start with this one, and we'll just kind of like build it. I guess we're building a template now. Screw it, whatever. Like, this is half of writing for me, is just like wantonly going around and just filling things as I'm in the mood to make them. Because like, I'm not doing this for like a job. I don't have deadlines. I can just do whatever I want. So we're gonna change this to item / artifact template. Well, 30 tiles within the region. Yeah. So it's like, you know, the game just starts. The game just starts with like, you know, your parents are dead, you know, and they were responsible for these 30 towns. Now you're responsible for these 30 towns, right? So you can describe the state of the towns, and then people, you know, the players, it's their job to now go ahead and handle that. So let's see here. Let's get rid of that. Notion pretty well. Let's go through what you know, there are so many cool tools out there. You want to know why I stick with OneNote? Because it's the first one I started using, and I don't want to transfer everything. I've learned to make OneNote work for me, and I quite like it. But yeah, it's there are so many cool things, and like, if I weren't already so invested in OneNote, there are some other ones that I actually feel like I would probably rather get into, but I'm just so committed to this one, and I really don't want to have to go through the process of transferring it. So if anyone ever makes a robot that will do it for me, I'm in. But until then, we're sticking with a OneNote. Sticking with a OneNote. All right, I mean, yeah, everyone gets inspirations from all kinds of places, Anfel. Like, I think it's cool that you've got a good idea. And like I say, I think the beginning is just a simple thing. Like, I don't think you really even need to make a beginning. I think you just set the scene, and with the type of game you're trying to describe here, you set the scene, which is like, okay, the funeral, you were just at your parents' funeral, now you're in charge of these places, and then the players will write their beginning, middle, and end for themselves, the way you're describing it. I always end up back at Notion. I mean, there's like, the thing is like, once you get used to a tool, it can be really hard to revert to something different. You know what I mean? It can be like, once you're used to something, it can be really hard to learn a new thing, just because you're like, I already know that this does what I want it to do. And so when something new doesn't work the same way, it's often more frustrating. Doesn't mean it's always not worth learning how to do something new, but it definitely has an impact on it. Okay, I want to keep working on this template, and I want to plant your mini as shield in this world, and then we'll do some campaign stuff. But I need to go to the bathroom. I talked about coffee, and well, let's just say what goes in must come out. So I need to run to the bathroom real quick. I will be back very shortly. I'll probably refresh my beverage as well. But yeah, when I get back, we'll keep working on this. But sit tight. I appreciate your patience. Alrighty. Appreciate your patience. I'm back. Let's see. Oh, that's what I miss. Compare everything. Yeah, I do the same. I compare things all the time. It can make it difficult. And I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, no, I hear where you're coming from, Xanderfell. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a matter of like, start broad and add more specifics in there. Don't like overthink details, and just start thinking about generally, like, you got your general idea, so now start thinking about general mechanics on how that would work. So I mean, like, I agree that I'm good at writing challenging scenarios, but I do it in D&D, man. Making video games just isn't my thing. Just ain't my thing, unfortunately. I'll leave that to other people who are better with making computery stuff. I'm better just with writing in theater of the mind. That's what I'm good at. Let's hear. Okay, so we need to make it just a template here for items, and this is gonna be rough, and this template is gonna need a lot of work one of these days. But just a basic concept here. I don't know that we need necessarily any of these things. Actually, you know what? We can have a couple like basics here. Magic. It's yes or no. Magic item. We'll say. Well, actually, we're gonna say magic. And then we'll do level. So it's like if it is magic, like what level of magic is it? Like, is it common, uncommon? You know, if it's a an enchanted item with like a spell, what level spell, stuff like that. That's I know we'll need that for the item and artifact. Is it magic? Unique. You know, as in like, is there only one? Are there multiple? Things like that. And then let's see, we'll say presently owned. So it's like, is it a presently owned item, or is it like a lost item? So like Yermenia's would be a lost item rather than owned. Here we'll say presently owned or lost. And the idea is it doesn't necessarily have to be both of those. It could be like in a museum or something like that. But it's like this, really just kind of describing that kind of stuff. Bring out quests, writing them. Yeah, I mean, just keep in mind, like, don't write a quest as in players have to do this. A quest should just be a list of problems that need solving, in general. For a video game, you're going to have to make some steps in terms of like, oh, they must do this, because a computer can't think like a DM can on whether something is sufficient or not. But in general, a quest isn't like, you're not trying to list up, oh, they must go here, and then they must go here, and then they must go here. Have a quest be like, this issue happens in this area. Players need to solve that issue, right? Like, just a quest is a conflict looking for a resolution, and that's all. So just put the conflict, and it's up to the player to come up with the resolution, essentially. You know, so it's like there are going to be some finite things that a video game can do, but like when you think about like if someone were making a shooter, right, like it would kind of be just like, okay, this area has these enemies, like, and they're terrorizing these villagers, you know. And so like a shooter, it's just you know, their job is to go in and solve it, and they can do it with a pistol or a rocket launcher or whatever, right? So it's like you're not necessarily saying, oh, they must shoot this guy with this gun. It's just like, this is a problem that needs solving. And just that's all a quest is. That's all a quest is. So that's how I would approach it if I were you. All right, so let's see. A magic item. What level is it? Is it a unique item? Is it presently owned or lost? I think that's. I don't know that there's anything else. If we need anything else, we can add it later. There we go. Owned or lost. Okay, so now we can change this. We're going to say item history, right? And that's just going to be, so here we're just going to say a description of how the item came to be and who all has used / owned it. Do stuff like that. And then the other thing that I want to do is owned it, and then also we'll say finish with a note on how it on how / where it can be found. Bada bing, bada boom. Territory okay, so yeah, we don't need that obviously, and so this is going to be mechanics. And then we're just going to say describe the functions of the item. If magical, utilize the enchantment template. If non-magical, just be sure to make any necessary mechanics like attack bonus, damage dice, etc. And we get rid of all this stuff. Boom, there we go. Wondering encounter, this is irrelevant. Oh my god, OneNote. This is one thing that OneNote's really bad about. It like takes forever to roll. Rid of that. Are you gonna make it go away? There we go. And I don't really think we need much else. I'll do that and then link index. I hardly ever use this, but I do like to put this here because when I'm of a mind to, you can do this. This is one thing that I really like about OneNote is you can put links to other places, right? So it's like if I wanted to reference, like if I know it's going to be in a certain place in the atlas, I can copy a link to the atlas page and then I can put it down there. So that way it's like, oh, I found this item. Oh, it's in that area. What's going on in that area? Boom, click, there you go. And then vice versa. So there we go. That's a perfectly good template right there. I will eventually want to add more to it, but I don't want to do that today. I've got a lot of other things I want to do. Copy that page. Boom, paste it. Make it a sub page. Make it a sub page. You know, rather than like a pizza page or something. Haha, get it? There we go. To make any game you want almost however you want. That does sound awesome. That sounds pretty awesome. It sounds like a good tool. Sounds like a good tool if that's what you're looking for. All right, let's see here. So, we're not, wait, hold on. I'm not, yeah, good. I'm on the right thing. Hermania's field. Yes. Magic. Yes. Level 6 imbibement. Boom, there we go. Unique. Yes. Only one exists. Presently owned or lost. It is presently lost. Item history. We'll say a shield imbued with the magic of the spell glob. Oh man, I just like glob of invulnerability. I think that's awesome. Globe of invulnerability. One of these days I'm gonna make the glob of invulnerability. Like I like the chewing gum one, but the other thing that I think of is it's just like if it's like just nothing but a big giant ball of mud or something like that. That's like perpetually mud. And all you do is you take it and you just like slap it on your face or something. Like you can give it to other people. You take it and just throw this ball of mud. Or like, oh no, you know what it makes me think of? Does anyone else remember? Okay. I might date myself with this a little bit. I don't know. I'm kind of at that age now where I can date myself. Like not like as in like go out to dinner with myself. I can do that. It'd be cool if I could do it with a clone. It'd be weird to be able to like, you know, hold hands with myself, but anyway, that's a different aside. Like okay, so does anyone else remember the stuff called GAC? Anyone else remember that? Like it was back in like the late 90s, early 2000s when every kid thing ever was revolving around slime. And it was basically just this jar of like slime that you could throw and it would splatter, but like it still wanted to stick together, so then you could like roll it all back up into a ball. So it turned slime into a toy. Kind of along the lines of, anyone remember those like sticky, stretchy hands that you could like slap on a window and it would be this hand would be like, whoop, and then you'd like peel it off. Anyone remember those? That's what I'm thinking for glob of invulnerability. Like it's just a big ball of gack. But yeah, that my name might have been different. Yeah, 100%, 100%. I'm sure there were like 17 different. It was similar to, but not exactly the same as Floam. Floam was another one that was kind of like that. Floam was a slightly cleaner version of it, but it's the same basic idea. Let's see here. Good place to make homebrew templates. OneNote. That's what I use. I don't know, man. I know there's like websites that you can create like actual pages and stuff like that for what templates look like. But I don't use them. I just write all my notes in OneNote. So OneNote, that's my recommendation. That's what I use. Slimy rat on a string that you threw on the wall. Yeah. That's like the stretchy hands that I was saying. Yeah. I want one of those. I want one of those for a glob of invulnerability. Like, you just, like, slap the gack or the floam or whatever on you. And that's it. That's what that would be it. That'd be beautiful. That'd be beautiful. Oh, I love it. Template is for lichdom. Nice. I've heard a lot of different people trying to kind of make a good, like, lich-based class and stuff like that. It's an interesting, compelling idea that a lot of people like, and they've never really come out with an official one. Yeah, I know a lot of people will kind of work on coming up with rules for that type of stuff. A good old glob of invulnerability. A shield imbued with the magic of the spell of globe of invulnerability. Yeah, casting glob of invulnerability is just literally throwing crap at people. I like it. I like it a lot. The more irritating the placement, the more effective it is. So if it's just like on your shoulder, it's kind of like, I mean, like, it works. But then it's like, if it like smacks you in the face, it's like, oh yeah, you're immune to all magical, regardless of the level, and it lasts for an hour. Because like, if you're willing to deal with it, just like sitting there on your face, you know, it's like, yeah, it'll last. It's like you gotta walk into a store, and they're all like, what's up with you? Nothing. This is just my glob. I don't know. What do you want? Oh boy. Globe of invulnerability. Okay, a shield imbued with the magic of the spell. Globe of invulnerability was commissioned by the famous wizard hunter Yermenia. What is her name? Yermenia Noltera? Hold up. Noltera. There it is. Got it. I remember my own characters. Noltera. Who needed a way to safely approach wanted wizards for bounty hunting. The item was owned by her for roughly 20 years until she died at the hands or feet of a pack of frost giants. The shield, every time, the shield remains with her corpse in the frozen muds of the frozen marsh. Boom, there we go. That's where it is, if we can find it. Let's see here. Simply cause a shell state of me. I got you. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. So it's kind of more like it's almost more like a status. I hear you. That's interesting. I like it. I like it. It's a cool idea. It's like trying to take the Skyrim mechanic and make a D&D version of it. Sounds like, which is cool. I dig it. Let's see, mechanics are easy. Boom. Let's see here. Let's see here. We'll take this and we're just gonna grab this stuff here. We don't need the sentience or anything. Copy that. Copy that. Go down to the story. His story, her story, you know, it's whatever. What did I goof up here? Oh, I'm not in history. I need to go to artifacts. That's what I need to do. I was like, why isn't it looking right? Boom, there we go. So hold up. First off, one note getting, damn it. God, it does that when you don't go all the way down with the bullets. Dang it, I did it again. There we go. Make our bullet points there. It messed up the formatting, but I don't care enough to change it right now. Let's see here. Let's see. Instead of type of item, we're just going to say, what we're going to say is we're going to say shield. I got it right the first time that time. I put the I first. I before E except after C. Sorry, I got a little intense with that one. Alright, anyway. Let's see here. Wait, shield is imbued with the spell globe of invulnerability. Boom, there we go. There we go. English is a very hard language. It's a very long language. Oh yeah, I'm sure Xanafel, I'm sure it's different. It's not exactly like the Skyrim. I'm just finding like things to compare to. As we were discussing earlier, our brains compare things. As myself and Noleko were discussing, comparing things is how the brain works. This is how my brain works. Can I make it? I can. All right, I take it back. I'm changing it. I'm changing it to how I want it. Yes, I have the power. Unbullet point those and re-bullet point them. Boom, properly. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. I like it. I like it a lot. There we go. See, now we got a fun item that's buried somewhere for people to find. Awesome. I mean, yeah, like they would be powerful, but that's why you'd come up with your own set of rules, man. That's what making the homebrew rules are. So, hey, thank you for the donation. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me that you're having a good time, enjoying it, and yeah, I appreciate that. It'll go a long way to helping me get more cool things for the stream. My present goal is to get a second camera soon, so that way we can have a dedicated cat cam, as well as giving me the option to do some other things not on my computer screen. I have thought about doing various things, including Lego building and coloring and stuff like that for like Saturday morning streams, to be creative on a Saturday morning. So, but yeah, exactly, cat cam, right? Am I right? I know everyone wants cat cam. Everybody wants cat cam. We need cat cam. So that's what my next goal is. So thank you so much. That will be very helpful in eventually achieving that goal. And soon, my one-eyed cretin will take over the internet. I'm actually her ward. We're just working on her goals. Truthfully, it's all a long con. Oh boy. Oh my Atlanta. It's very true. Any language that's not your native tongue is very difficult. I have tried multiple times to learn both French and Spanish, and I have made minimal progress every time I've attempted to, because it is hard. It's hard and it takes a lot of work. Cats get so jealous. Oh my gosh, they get so jealous. It cracks me up. It cracks me up. Every time any time my cat can smell other animals on me, oh my gosh, I get the dirtiest looks. It is so funny. It's adorable, but it's so funny. She gets so mad. All right, let's see here. So okay, so we have successfully made a magical item, and we have planted it in the world. That is a very in-depth and thorough warm-up. So I'm gonna have a sidestep now and go back to working on our campaign. We've been working on a long-form campaign, and I kind of touched on it a little bit, but we're working on a campaign that takes place in here. And I've already kind of discussed my world about how it's post-apocalyptic and stuff like that. So this campaign takes place, it's part of an effort to expand the trade routes as the world is trying to recover from this unhinging situation, right? So we have our city of Phosphik up here and our city of Mofafetting. Typically speaking, the only existing trade route is for them to go through all of these other cities and take weeks, perhaps months, to try and do travel to Mofafetting. Mofafetting is essentially, because of that, at the very edges of what would be meaningful trade. Beyond that, everything else is just like, it's not worth it for them to try and do it. So, the idea is that there's an effort being made to map out a potentially safe trade route that will go directly south from Phosphik and north from Mofafetting to connect the two cities. And so our players, this one begins, again, talking about beginnings just being a snapshot. Our players will have, before the campaign starts, have been members of this effort to find a safe route to the city. Let me pull up the region map that we need. We need our Q5 map here. There's in like 3rd grade. English is class from 1st grade. Yeah, that'd be helpful. America doesn't really do that. We're kind of all like, we already know English, and English is the best language, and you don't like get the opportunity to start learning language. You're either born in a multilingual household, or you don't really start learning other languages until like high school. It's not a great system, but it's America. If it weren't America-centric, it just wouldn't be our way. Along between when the unhinging happened to the start of the campaign. So the present day, the time when I write all of my campaigns, it's about 2,000 years after the unhinging. I put it at about 2,000 years, and the idea is that I use that description of like the different layers of different density liquids and stuff like that, right? And so it's like, just like with that, the tears and rips in reality between the realms are starting to sort of like are starting to kind of fix themselves, right? Rips and tears are starting to close. That's enough time that a lot of creatures are starting to die or find their way back to their own realms, depending on how intelligent they are and what abilities they have. So it's like, it's still a very dangerous world, but it's at least becoming possible to reclaim parts of it. And that's where a lot of the campaigns that I write kind of come from. Like, that's the excuse for being out in the wilds. It might be an effort to build a new city to re-expand back out. It might be part of finding an old forgotten item of legends, but like the idea is that the world is safe enough for brave adventurers to go out into the wilds. Right, so it's still very dangerous, but it's possible to survive. Whereas beforehand, it was basically like, if you leave the walls, we're just gonna assume you're never coming back, and it's kind of like that. Excuse me. There's one place that's still super dangerous that has its own lore. So the Lost Lands up here, and the city of Rhodanos. As far as the rest of the world is concerned, the city is gone. No one has come from Rhodanos up here, nor has anyone been able to successfully make it to Rhodanos, because there's like a swath, there's like a line right here where it's like, once you go further north, the unhinging has not been healing. And it's like a fun thing too, because like there's like a separate lore going on with Rhodanos, where they think they're the last city for exactly those reasons. Like, they cannot really leave this area, because anytime they try to do big excursions, they just kind of, people either die or they come back, like they come back with their tail between their legs, because it's just not healing. But generally speaking, that's the situation we're in. So no more German. It's, you know what? Honestly, that's just impressive. I'm always impressed with anyone who can learn another language, because like I say, I've tried multiple times, and it's like, I know tourist French, right? Like, I know enough French to ask, where's the bathroom? Where's my hotel? My name is Scott. My name, I am from America. Like, I know tourist French. I do not know French, Those are very different things. Like, I know enough French to pull out a French dictionary and piece together a broken sentence to get my meaning across. And that's what I know. That's what I know. And so I'm always so impressed when other people know other languages, because I've just not been able to grasp it. You know, be they programming languages or verbal languages. Just don't get them. After year 5,000. Okay, so your world, everything kept getting worse and worse. Yeah, my world, the unhinging happened, but things are starting to recover a little bit. Is kind of the way I've got it going on here. But at any rate, so here we are, just like, so explaining again what's happening. So they're part of this effort, you know, and like I say, the snapshot beginning idea, our campaign begins when our players are part of this effort to build this pathway, this new trade route, and they're exploring it. Like, the first chapter is them just exploring this cave here to see if the cave is, like, safe, as in not magical with a rip between realms in it. As long as there's no tear between realms, it's like, okay, well, we know there's a cave, maybe a wide berth around it in case there's creatures, but otherwise we can go there. Because, like, if there's, the idea is, like, if there's a tear between realms, like, the whole area is not safe from, like, a Chernobyl standpoint where there's, like, magical radiation. It's like, yeah, you're probably going to get messed up if you have to stay there a long time. So it's not great. It's not great. And so our players begin the campaign there. And while they're exploring the cave, a dragon who has taken up residence and is, like, holds dominion over the Golden Wind Plains, which is, like, here and then further to the southwest there. Dragon comes down and he's all like, "Oi, this is my place. Get out of here. I don't want you people here. Get out of here. Get off my lawn." And all the people are like, "Please, we're just trying to make a trade route." And it's a golden dragon, so he's kind of diplomatic and not super evil. And he's like, all right. Tell you what, I want to get into this place called the Hall of Wisdom. There's some stuff in there that I want. Don't worry about it. But it's locked away with 4 magical keys. I can't get in there, and I'm too busy holding dominion over these planes to go find the keys. If you find me the keys, I'll let you make your goofy little trade route. So our players, being good players, will accept the call to adventure and go on a quest for 4 keys, right? And so there's where our campaign starts. They have this city at their disposal to do some research here in Novotrikladny. It's a city that's been kind of built as an outpost, tucked up in here. People got paid a lot of money and promised a lot of land to be part of making this city so it can service the efforts to find this, to make this new trade route, you know, so that way they don't have to go all the way back up to Phosphik, back and forth to, like, resupply and everything like that if they need it. So it's there. Our players can kind of go there, do some research. They find that the first key is hidden somewhere up here in the mountains among the giants. So they got to go find key number 1. Eventually they find key number 1 and they come back. They find out that key number 2 is hidden somewhere in the abandoned dwarven city of Kagdaral. They go there, find key number 2, and then go back. Find out, and so this is the part that we're kind of writing now. They find out that key number 3 is hidden within the abandoned elven city of Ashur-Nalor. Now, there's not really a good way to get to Ashur-Nalor, because the way that they used to do it is by teleportation from an established sort of network of teleportation circles. So the best thing that they can do is go to this city of Minadala, try to find that. Adventures happen, and the short of it is there's actually a wizard that still lives there, despite all the unhinging things. He helps them rebuild the teleportation circle, which has been damaged, and so they use that to get to Ashur-Nalor, and that's where we're at. Ashur-Nalor, the part that we're just starting to write, kind of messed up. So basically what happened here is the elves that couldn't escape during the unhinging were affected by the magical radiation of a nearby tear in reality and have become drow. But they're not just drow as in, like, generally dickish, but they're still good people. No. These people are basically like a horrible cult that makes sacrifices of living creatures to the tear and the creatures within the tear for their own, you know, like, for their own, like, religious beliefs, basically, that it'll make them more powerful. So that's kind of where we're at. And, like, I'm making this chapter basically a horror film, and the idea is that all of the things that happen, like, are caused by these dark elves, by these drow, but the players will never see the drow, and it will always be just sort of actors from behind the scenes in the shadows. They'll face monsters that the elves will, like, sick on them and stuff like that, but they'll never see the elves, and that's kind of what we're working on. And I see I'm falling behind in chat. Hold on a second. Nice, nice. Having similar languages would definitely be helpful. English is just like very unique. I mean, we use the same alphabet and use, I mean, it's got some standard word structures, but it's just so different from most other languages. It's hard to have like, cross-pollination, so to speak there. Let's see here. Okay, Xanafel. Oh, you're talking about your world here, Xanafel. The deities, post-apocalypse, sci-fi tech, plasma guns. Name is nice. So it's kind of got like a steampunk vibe to it, sounds like. Nice. So, okay, so we've got our city of Ashford Nalor. And we haven't really done much in the way of making details. We have kind of this stuff. We have like some basics, and I know what the basic idea that I have is, but we're still working on some foundational stuff. And here's where we bring in the let's see here. I'm looking for, did I save? I better have saved. Hold on, let me open up any of these. Open. Let me see here. We need to find. Oh, good. I did save it. Okay, it's just not. I haven't opened it yet. Okay, so I started working on trying to make a map for our city of Ashford Nalor. Because one of the big things for me, like I say, like I try to, when I'm making quests, just make locations that have problems that need to be solved. And so the basic steps of what our characters are going to have to go through, and we've kind of already mapped out a little bit of what their steps are and what the problems are, right? Where do I have it written down? I have it written down in here somewhere. Here? Where did we... Maybe I put it... Yeah, we have it here in our campaign template here. So our main story, so for Chapter 7, there's going to be 7 sections to it, or seven periods, right? Or, not periods, yeah. Chapters, kind of like sub-chapters, I guess. I don't know. There's seven basic tasks that they need to do. So the original problem, what they're there for, is to find a key. And they're actually going to do that right away. Because when they teleport into it, there's going to be a temple very nearby that the key will be hidden in. And it's going to be easy for them to find that temple and easy for them to find the key. The only challenge really in this first part is when they get to that temple will be guarded by these ancient clockwork things that were just kind of put there as defensive mechanisms to sort of like guard this temple that was, super important, super valuable stuff. So the players are going to have to go through that kind of stuff and to get the key, and it's going to seem pretty straightforward. The second part is they'll go back to the town. They're going to go back to the town, and they're going to go back to that teleportation circle. Like, they're going to have to, like, and when they're going through the town, things are going to start getting kind of weird, but not in a, oh, we're really in trouble situation. It's kind of more so like, some weird things, some spooky things are going to be happening that will kind of lead them in certain directions. Some weirdo monsters are going to start showing up, and they're going to be like, oh, I guess, like, us being around here has attracted their attention. I guess we better get out of here and hurry up and get to our teleportation circle. And it's going to end when they get there, when they get to the teleportation circle and find that it's been damaged. And so they can't teleport out of there. And so now they're kind of trapped. And so the next few sections are going to revolve around, the problem is the circle has been damaged and they need to get themselves... All right, hold on. Gosh. Okay, small gripe. Again, with the work phone. I get like 4 or 5 daily emails about our system having issues with its like network in some way, shape, or form. Why do we have such a terrible network? It's like, oh, the VPNs are down now. Oh, people can't log on to the shared drive. Oh, people can't do this, that, or the other thing. Why do we have such a crappy network? I've never understood it. Anyway, sorry, small gripe. Doesn't matter. I'm not using those things right now, but it's like, come on, man. Like, why do we have such a shoddy network? Like, I've never have connectivity issues with my personal stuff. Like, what's wrong with us? Anyway, the next few sections are going to revolve around, the problem is the thing's damaged, so the solution is they need to go to a few other parts of town where they can get the resources to reconstruct the teleportation circle and get out. As they're doing that, things are going to devolve more and more into this like horror scenario that they're just like trapped in and trying to figure out how to get out of. Eventually what's going to happen is these night elves are going to basically plant some false clues for them about where they can find some of these areas. And one of them is going to lead them to where that rift, that Terran reality is, because the elves, they have just like fallen in their lap a party of sentient living creatures, like the highest form of sacrifice they can make to this terror for their own power, their own gain, right? So they're going to basically try to draw the players there, and what's going to happen is once they get there, it's going to draw out the it's going to draw out this like horrible monster thing that's like what they want to what like it's this monster that's like what the night elves want to, you know, the drow, what they want to appease, right? This monster, this creature. So it's like the creature comes out, and then like the next section, right? Because that's what happens in section 5 when they go to the rift. The next section is going to be whatever the last remaining part of town that they need to get is, right? And so they can go there, and the whole time they're going to be chased by this monster, but they won't actually be like encountering and fighting it yet. The thing is basically going to be trying to cause problems for them while there's other like creatures and stuff from this forest that are attacking the players. And then the last section is them now. They are basically going against time, where they're in like one arena where it's like they have to try and complete a certain number of tasks to rebuild the circle while this monster is trying to attack them and get at them while they're doing it. So that's kind of our basic storyline that we're working on. And so what I want to do right now is I want to try getting a map in place that we can then start planting where these items are, so we can start visualizing sort of the pathway that our players are going to take. They can. You're playing an entirely different game than I'm setting up there, man. You're coming up with an entirely different game. And the other thing about it too, like if you're talking, well, I mean, like if you're talking about, I guess I can amend that statement a little bit. You know. Okay, what about this one then? Yeah, that's the one we need. Different instance. But if you're talking about, hold up. Like, unless what you're talking about is like between this city and this city, setting up place with garrisons, yeah, that's what the overarching storyline is, right? That's what our players are part of. They're part of mapping out this area so we can establish a guarded trade route that would have those things. So yeah, that's kind of what they're doing. It's kind of what they're doing. So you got it. So well, I mean, the where I was getting hung up is I didn't know if you meant those two cities or like, you know, these two cities or anything like that. But at any rate, like, yeah, no, you're right. We're just like doing a real small snapshot of one part of that whole quest in general, because this is a full world. Like, this is a big giant thing. And like, I don't run my games like a game of Civ or something like that, where it's like, oh, we do that and then like 7 days in game pass and suddenly there's a city or something, you know. So because that's it kind of turns into a different game, right? You're doing a world building game, whereas D&D is kind of more of just like a hero's quest kind of game. But at any rate, we were working on this city, and I'm not convinced I like it exactly as it is right now, but I think we've got a decent start here. I think really the changes that I want to make, are more stylistic than layout. I kind of like the way this is. I might want to thin out some of these buildings a little bit. Yeah. I'm trying to think about how I want to set this up here, how I want this map to look. Because like that's the trick here, is it's really a stylistic thing that I'm trying to achieve here. And so we've got like our portal, like our rift in reality that's up here, right? And so there's the pathway that leads into the woods. And actually, so, okay, let's first off grab our path tool. Ourselves in a little bit here. Two and a half seems like it's matching. So the pathway in theory will run off down this direction, right? So we can kind of set it up and let our players see the path that goes on down there, and the rift is off the path, so they're gonna have to go through the forest to eventually get the rift, right? And that's kind of part of it, right? Or they can just like go beeline there, however they want to do it. They're gonna have to go through the forest at some point. And for our city here, see, the thing that I'm struggling with, and I'm just trying to think about how I want to approach this, is I don't dislike the look that we have here, because this is about like the density that I imagine this elven city having, right? It's an elven city. They might have some areas that are more densely with more densely placed buildings and stuff like that. But in general, this seems like the density that I want. Oh, yeah, geez, man. Get yourself some rest. Go take care of yourself. Have some rest. Thanks for stopping by, though. I appreciate you coming by, and glad you had a good time here today. We'll see you next time. But yeah, like, so the issue, whoops, oh, shoot, undo. I didn't mean to do that. The issue here is if I am trying to create a map that has distinct places for players to go, people are going to want to go to each of these buildings and expect each of them to have things. But that's really not... Dang it, I did it again. There we go. But that's not really... Thank you, Xanderfell. I appreciate it. We'll catch you later. But yeah, like, it's not... I'm not trying to set up a... I'm just trying to set up a visual aid. But if I provide it for players, they're going to want to go to each location. So, and there's two ways to offset that. I can manage the density of these places. Hey, Gabby, how's it going? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Hope the same is true for you. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. We can do a couple smaller areas where we put the buildings more close together to set up like a more like city block type of setup, and like each location is they go to the to those blocks, which will have things. So we can either do that, or we can like reduce these so that and only have buildings numbered to the number of places that they're going to visit, and each building represents like a block. But I feel like that's just going to end up looking really empty, and I'm not going to like that as much. So I don't think I want to do that. Happy early birthday, Gabby. Happy early birthday. I feel like you mentioned that earlier this week too. I feel like you mentioned that you got a birthday coming up. So congrats on not getting hit by a bus for another year. Turning 27. That's still younger than me. Let's see here. But yeah, congrats on not biting the bullet. What I always think about with birthday. I did it. I didn't die. Yes, another year. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I like the idea of making like neighborhoods, because I think that's going to be more to the point of what I'm trying to do here with it. It's like more so they have to search through different parts of town to find different items. So I think that's how I want to structure it. I think that kind of nails it. So let's see here. Hey, man, Mayhem, we are working on continuing the map that we started on Monday for the city of Ashra-Nalor here. Dang it, I keep doing that. Ashra-Nalor, our dark elf, or our drow city that our players are going to be going in for our ongoing D&D campaign writing project. So yeah, but yeah, there's some edits that need making here. So I'm going to clear this area out. I'm gonna delete this area here. Oh, because it's only on the path tool right now. Yeah, we can get rid of those paths, and let's get rid of some of these symbols here. Boom. Gone. And gone. And gone. Okay, there we go. That's good. That's good. Actually gonna go back to our path tool as well. And get rid of that chunk of path as well. And we'll have the path. We'll build it back in there. Symbols, let's see here. Go back to our symbols. I did at least like the style that we were using, which was this one here. Yeah, kind of like pretty big. We don't need it that big. Let's see here. Uncalled Dunmer. Yeah. Well, I mean, I gotta avoid them copyright issues, don't I? Kind of impossible to do. It's more so that I'm just adhering to sort of the D&D 5e lore conventions, since that's the primary thing. I mean, that's what I'm writing for, 5e, so it just makes it a bit easier to maintain. So let's see, if I'm going to do city blocks, then I think it's going to be easier to make things a little bit smaller. This is the temple. The temple is its own thing. Oh, is it going to do that thing where it, there's a way that I was, like, doing that thing where it's, I guess it's kind of coloring it in. I don't know. Sometimes it does this where it, if I, like, leave and come back or something, it does this thing where it won't, like, have it be the color of the map like it's supposed to. D&D is such an awesome game. I love D&D. Always highly recommended to anyone who loves, like, fantasy and theater of the mind. Always highly recommended. Is it just, yeah, see, it's like doing, I don't know why I can't, but it bothers me that it's not changing the color. If I just, like, minimize and bring it back big again. I do it like that. Oh, how to make it. I know it's still the black and white. Is it gonna do that with all of them? See, that one it got that one. See, this is what I mean when I talk about how, like, I just can't like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to, you know, program computers or anything, because I can barely handle computers with the interface provided to me. Anyway, the temple. Ah, see, there we go. Now I got it. I don't know. Who's to say what's going on here? All right. Anyway, so there's, like, a couple approaches that we can take to making city blocks. And I guess, so there's we either, you know, place, yeah, see, there it did it with that one. I guess there are two sets. I guess one of them is just meant to be the colors don't change set, and one of them is the colors do change, or something like that. Lots of tuning and tinkering. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So there's a couple approaches we can take with this. I can either, you know, just, like, come up with these smaller buildings. Like, that temple is obviously going to need to be bigger. It's, like, kind of a center focal point. We want that temple to be a big buddy. So we can either, like, piecewise plant our buildings, right, and just, like, kind of one by one do it that way, or we can take the easy route, come up here, where are they, here, and, like, do, like, these, and just, like, place things there to do it that way. But I just don't like that. Let's see here. Kind of style am I going for? So, like, aesthetically right now, this city, it's the Elven city. Just within my world, I'm kind of envisioning kind of more like an Asian aesthetic type of situation. You know, like classical Chinese, Japanese architecture type stuff. It's kind of the aesthetic that I'm going for, and that's like the. Hi, kitty. I knew you'd come over here. Come here. Psst, psst. You wanna come say hi to everyone? You're way more popular than me. Come here. You look like you're barely awake. Yeah, you just woke up, didn't you? Yeah. Come here. Come on up. There you go. Hi, honey. There she is. Hold on a second. Boop. Zoom in, and then say hi to the world, little one. There she is. There she is. A very, very sweet and fluffy and attention grabbing. Yes, rub the mic, make everyone go deaf with your kitty love ASMR. I know, kitty. This is why we need a cat cam, so that way we can keep one focused on her at all times. I know, you're very popular. You're more famous than me. Everyone likes looking at you more than they like looking at me, and frankly, I don't blame them. You are acting so groggy. You woke up kind of hard there, didn't you? Something, maybe the AC kicked on and like and startled her awake or something, because she looks like I feel when I have to get up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym every morning. Just like, oh, what is being awake? Why? Oh, but she's purring. Oh, she's a happy baby. Yeah, she's my little one-eyed Leela. Her name is Leela. Yeah, I know. My little one-eyed cretin. She's a darling. She's a butthole, but she's a darling. Alright, anyway. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Donver. I don't like the look of doing it the easy route. There are some maps where the easy route is perfect and it's exactly what I'm looking for, but this is definitely meant to be much more of a like detailed city map. So I feel like I'm gonna have to just take the time to plot out individual buildings. I think that's just what's gonna need to happen. So my cat named Dilbert, that's adorable. That's adorable. I know, this little one, she was living her story. They found her as a kitten. The shelter I got her from, they found her as a kitten. She was a stray, and her eyes were like, both eyes were super infected, and they managed to save one of them, but the other one they couldn't save. But she's a bit of a scaredy cat, and so because of that, she didn't. She was never very outgoing at the shelter, and you combine that with the fact that she had only one eye, and she ended up living at the shelter for like 2 years, and no one wanted her. And then I showed up at the shelter having just moved to this city about 3 years ago, and I wanted a little companion to have with me, and so I thought a cat would be perfect because like I live alone, so I didn't want a dog in case I had to be gone for long periods. Cats are easier to manage, so I was like, all right, well, let's get myself a kitty. So I went to the shelter, and I saw her kind of cowering in the corner, and I thought she was like super adorable. And so I asked them, I was like, what about that one? And they're like, oh, well, she'd prefer a quieter home. She's a little nervous. And I was like, this cat sounds like me in cat form. A quieter home, and a quieter home needs some solitude. So I adopted her, brought her home, and she hid under the bed for about 3 months. I would see her slink out and like hover against the wall, and then go to her food bowl, eat, and then immediately run back and hide under the bed. I got her in August, and I didn't see her consistently come out until like Christmas. And then it was around Christmas time she started coming out more, and now she is my Snugglebug lap cat. It took a couple years for us to get there, but there she is again. She's very happy. She's very sweet. She's very, very sweet. Oh, but yeah, that's my little one-eyed cretin. She's a butthole, and I love her. Item of the character Dilbert. That's fitting. That's fitting. I named her Leela because it's like Futurama, right? Taranga Leela, the Cyclops. Perfect. Gonna be any ghosts or types of undead. I haven't decided exactly on the enemy set within this. I don't like undead. I feel like I might do some of that stuff, but it's gonna be more reskinned if I do. I don't know if I'm going to explicitly do ghosts and stuff like that. I'm more so thinking, I guess you could kind of argue it as ghosts, because I'm going for like the horror movie aesthetic for this particular chapter within the campaign. So I may go with like ghosty type of characters, but I think like in terms of lore, they're not gonna actually be ghosts. They're gonna be displaced beings from other realms. So less of a ghost and more of a monster, but like having that horror movie ghost spirit haunting type of thing. So Grave Domain Cleric, boy oh boy, this is your environment then right here that we're working on. That's for ding dong, sure. All right, let's see here. Okay, I need to like actually kind of as hinted by the title of this stream, my goal was to try and actually have this map completed by the end of the day. And here I am with only 1 hour left of a 4-hour stream, and I haven't done anything except delete what I already had. That's fine. The thing that I love about this project, talk about it a lot. I say it a lot. One of the things I love about this project is this project is 100% just for me and my enjoyment. There are no deadlines associated with it. I can really do what I want on at whatever pace I want to do here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do, I guess I'm just going to start carefully placing some buildings. It doesn't necessarily need to be a perfect grid pattern. That's kind of what I'm going for. And I'm going to try and place them in ways that will make it not super obvious that I'm just like recycling one of a handful of buildings. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start like a framework for a lot of this with these buildings, and then we can delete them and replace them with other things. And so I'm thinking there's definitely going to be like a main drag like this. You know, a main city drag, and there's going to be like a four corners center of town here. Let's see here. Boom, ba boom. Boom. Bada boom. Ba boom, ba 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 boom. This can only move from the cemetery in a straight line. Specifically build around cemetery to avoid contact with the spirits. I mean, like, in terms of lore, yes. In terms of lore, this has nothing really to do with like Asian lore and culture. It's just aesthetic that I'm going for with it. In terms of lore, it's an entirely homebrew world that's got its own lore going on. And so the buildings are going to kind of have that look about them. But the actual lore doesn't match that. So we can have like the city kind of built up however we want here. But I do like the attention to detail that you got going on there. I think that's cool. I do not know that much. I am not that cultured. I am a very typical American who knows very little about cultures beyond his own. Not out of an intentional ignorance, more so just out of, you know, that's how life goes. Let's see here. Yeah, exactly. It's just the architecture. Like, it's really just the architecture that I'm going for with it. So, like, see, this is the thing, though. I don't know how much I like this either. I don't really like this. I don't like this layout. I'm gonna undo it. I'm not gonna commit to it. If I don't like it, I'm not committing to it. If you don't love it in the store, you'll never wear it out of the store. If I don't love it now, I won't ever use it. Because I feel like there needs to be more trees, because it is Elven. So, like, I'm going for that type of architecture, but there are gonna be more, like, trees and stuff. Let me just try something here. So, let me try something here. I have this. I'm gonna experiment with the other idea I had, which is just to put a couple specific buildings and just have each of those be a place, and each one represents a different part of town or something like that. Let me just see what I can do with that. So if we've got our main temple there, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't even know which one of these I want to. I guess I like that one best for the temple, honestly. I really do like that one best for the temple. So I had been toying with that one last, or not last, but just on Monday when we were working on this a little bit. But I like the idea of, we've got temple in the center of town. Right, and then we've got some other, like, parts of town. So it's like, maybe we can have, like, the markets district right there, and it just represents that, right? And then we've got another one. Woof, that's big. Bigger than I want. And then we've got, like, the main town, right? And then we've got, let's see here. Makeshift treehouse. I know, right? If only whoever made this map pack had known what I wanted to use it for and catered to my needs. No, I'm with you. If there were a few more assets, that'd be kind of cool. We can do another one like this. Oh, what you doing, kitty? Are you gonna go lay in front? Yep, bump the microphone. There you go. Are you gonna go? Yep, there she is. Yes, thank you. Thank you for standing right by the camera. That's perfect. Well done. Where are you going, sweetie? Are you gonna go explore some more? You gonna go exploring? You're just gonna hang out in the corner right there too? That's fine too. Whatever you feel like doing, hon. Just do me a favor. Don't start doing the thing that you were doing. Yeah, okay, bye. I hope she doesn't start doing the thing. She's been doing this thing lately. So, with her one eye, okay, cat story time again. With her one eye, she has bad depth perception. So jumping on top of things is tough for her. And so she will only jump on top of things if she can see over the top of it. So she knows that it's safe and she knows how high to go. And so the desktop is just a little too high for her. And usually she's brave enough to go for it and jump anyway because it's close. She can at least reach over top and she knows it's not dangerous if she has to bail out. So she'll do that. But she's lately taken to just begging to come on my lap because she can see up onto my lap. And so she insists on coming up to my lap, which is why you see me when she comes over, I have to like back out and let her up because I'm not just going to ignore her. I love her too much. But I hope she doesn't do that. That's, you know, cat story number 7 of the day. Oh boy. Dinner, thanks for the Hey, you know what, Noelico, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Appreciate your questions and your discussion additions. It means a lot to me that you're stopping by. It means a lot to me that everyone stops by, but you know, you're leaving right now, so you get special shout out right now. Oh boy. Let's see. Okay, because like what I'm thinking I'll do, so this is what I'm feeling maybe. Here, this one represents an apartment building complex here. You can do that, and then let's do one more. Do this one maybe. All right, and they can kind of represent, and maybe what I can do to spruce it up a little bit. Here's what we can do to spruce it up a little bit, right? Add like a couple other buildings to make it look kind of like a cluster of buildings for each one of these, right? For that one, we can do that and add a few more decorations and stuff. That's like the market bazaar or whatever. We can use like a couple of them, right? Set that up like this. And then do we have another one? Yeah, we've got at least one more. Right, set things up like that. I guess actually if I'm going to do that. I don't know. Come on, grab the one there. Yeah, there we go. Get that out of there, and then let's go back to our stuff. Maybe grab a different one. Go. Nope. Grab the thing. Make it down a little bit. Right there, maybe put like this right here or something like that. So there's like our market area. And like here we can add like a couple other, like another building that's like right there, like the more elevated airy part of the village or something like that. We can do that. So it's like we've got these different clusters, so it's like that'll make it look more like, hey, this represents this part of town, this cluster of buildings in town, right? And it'll kind of give us that aesthetic that's like kind of part way between the ones that I'm looking for. Like if we do that, right? So we got a couple clusters of buildings right here, and we can call these, like, we can name these different districts. So we can name this like city center district. That's the temple. Like we can actually give some distinct labels, and then what we can do to kind of spruce it up and make it look a little less awkward is maybe a good word for it. We can do a couple. There's a couple things that we can do. A couple tricks that I know that we can do. We want to get rid of that one. I don't. It seems a little too like, whatever, to like have them all only have 3 buildings exactly. So let me like add some different clusters here. Grab the little table there. Take this out. And we can put like a little table like right there. It kind of adds to the look a little bit. There we go. So okay, so if we do kind of these districts, because like this is meant to be the center of town. This is meant to be our like main town, and these are just like different districts. Because our players are going to have to experiment with those like 4 locations, right? They're going to come back to this place a couple times. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is, 6 is our area right here. I knew it. I knew you were going to do this. Okay, come here, kitty. Psst. Come on up. I know. Come on. I'm not going to ignore you. Come on. I know. There you go. I know. Say hi to everyone. I knew it. I knew she would do it. I knew she was gonna. She always does. Every time. Every time. This is why I say you're a butthole. I love you, but you're also a butthole. Oh, now she's gonna lay down. So now she's gonna do her favorite thing. She's gonna lay down, and as you can see, are you gonna say hi? Do you want to say hi to everyone? But she's gonna lay down, and as you can see, she has laid down right next to my mouse, which is extra fun because what that means, what's going to happen now is I'm going to try to move my mouse, and it's going to bump her, and she is going to get very mad at me for bumping her. And her tail is going to flick the keyboard and make things happen. Yeah. Give me my symbols. Yeah. There we go. Don't give me that. Don't give me your attitude. Don't give me that tude. The other part of why she's doing this is because she knows that, like, when the stream is over, she gets to eat. And so since we've got like an hour left in the stream, she's starting to get hungry, and so she's starting to know that dinner time is coming up soon. So she's going to try and bother me to see if she can make it happen earlier, which never, ever works. But the problem is, I think in her brain it probably does work because she's a cat. She's not super smart. So what happens is she bothers me for an hour, and then eventually the stream ends and I go feed her. Not, so there's not any causation between her making noise and me feeding her, but in her mind there is a correlation because she doesn't discern that the reason I'm feeding her is because the stream is over. She discerns that the reason I'm feeding her is some reason that's also related to the fact that she's been bothering me for an hour. So that's where we are. Anyways, okay, I like this. What I want to do now is I'm going to go to some trees here. We've got the tree thing that we've been using, right? I want to actually, let me see something. It's not going to tell me what our specifics. Oh wait, hold on. We were using these trees, and we can kind of. I'm going to try and find the matching tree so I can see exactly what size. I'm making all of these. Kitty. Here we go. Oh, that's the size of tree we've been using. So what I can do now is, no, don't bump my hand while I'm trying to do stuff. Don't you do that. That's extra buttholey of you. But now what we can do is we can kind of spruce up the village a little bit and add to this village exists in the in the forest among the trees by adding in a few trees, and we can have our pathways kind of wind between the villages here where we have our trees. Actually, don't, hold on, undo that one, because there I'm gonna put a compass rose there too, and that'll help spruce up the map a little bit and make it look a bit more mappy. But we can do stuff like this. Put another tree right there. Here, up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me plant some trees. Up in here. Oh, that one ended up weird. Well, if it wants to put it behind that building, we can do that. But there we go. See, and now it's got that look about it, right? That it's like, oh, it's a thinner part of the forest where this city exists. So now we can take our pathway tool and say, I'm okay with this. I'm content with how this looks now. And so now we can take our pathway tool here, kind of make some winding pathways that go to these areas here. And then the pathway will wind up here. Right, and like kind of go here, because we'll do one that goes there, and then like it forks to the temple there. This one will also have a pathway that goes directly there, and got its own designated path to get to temple here, and sure that it stops where I want it to. And then we've got one last area here. We'll go own pathway to the temple there, as well as I feel like we're just making a pathway here. Right, we can kind of have that one. Maybe we'll just like make that one kind of make things look a bit more interesting by intersecting. And then we'll have the same fork in the road that then goes over there. So there's our like different pathways and everything. And maybe what I'll do is I'm gonna take this one. Oh wait, we need to do it with our symbols. Grab that. But Kitty, what are you doing? Don't lay down on the keyboard. Ah, she is just burgling all the turds today. You're being a turd burglar. You're a sweet kitty, but you're also being a turd burglar. You're also lying very close to the edge of that desk. If you fall down, I will not help you. I will laugh. Okay? So just, like, be aware. And if your tail keeps hitting the escape button, I'm going to be mad. Ooh, I'm going to be mad. Oh, kitty. Kitty. What am I supposed to do with you? Whatever can I do with you, my dear kitty? Okay. We need a few more symbols. So this is my go-to compass rose here. So we'll go ahead and plop this right here. See, we can kind of do stuff like this to make things look a bit more mappy. Usually I like to put the compass up there, but I have reason to use that. That area there. So if we put that right there, and then we can put in, not labels, overlay. If we put in one of these bad boys here. And what we can do is, we gotta create, let's see. Okay, so first off, I gotta modify my colors a little bit here. Gotta get a proper color palette. Want that one to be the light one. Go, and then the dark one, I want it to be match this because I want it to match our compass. Gotta do the same with this one. Eye drop. Okay, so we got our compass rose right there. Let's create. Oh wait, hold on. It just automatically creates it. Yeah, it plops it right. We need to modify that a little bit here. Let's see here. Line width is fine. Segments, if we, yeah, I guess we can keep it at 5. Oh, here's what I want to do. I want to shrink it down a little bit here. We got to make a few edits. I want that a bit smaller. We'll reduce our height a little bit there to make it just kind of match a little bit better. A little smaller there. All right. Put that right there. Now those miles are way off. That is not even close. Segment distance is going to be more like 1 mile there. I actually do want to do fewer segments. I like that one. I like 4 segments there. And now we got to change our font here. Our font is always, we always go with Bilbo with our font. Font color, I want to do this. And then outline width, I want, how do I always set this up? We do it like that. Color it, because if we do it there, then I see that just makes it look a little too chonky, doesn't it? Maybe if we reduce the font size, it'll look okay. Now that just makes it look too chonky, doesn't it? I don't like that. I don't like it. Hey, Gabby. All right, wait. Oh, shoot. Hold on. What do you got? Kobold Mongols. Hold where they live. Dire coyotes. That's an option. I mean, you could always go with some sort of wolf. If you're going for a colder thing. You can just do like thematically colored drakes or something like that too. Is always an option, depending on what you wanna, what you're going for here. Yeah, I guess I just like that, and we'll make the font big enough. I guess I like that. I prefer it to be kind of that pencil thin approach to things. I gotta center that a little bit more. There's our compass rose a little bit. That looks okay. Although I want to change this. I feel like I accidentally caught a segment that's a little bit too dark. We go like that maybe. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. Looks a little bit better there. So that kind of matches the style there a little bit better. I think that's better. I think that looks better. But now we've got like a little bit of our mappy thing. What I might do, though, what I think I'm going to do, just to make it look a little bit prettier, let me go back to our symbols. Grab this. I'm going to grab these guys as a cluster. I'm going to move that up there a little bit more. We'll have to adjust our pathways, but that's okay. And then I'm going to grab this guy and move it over here. Just gives us a bit more breathing room with our compass there, and I think that looks a little bit better. So I'm going to stick with that. And I'm just going to go with my paths here. Let's grab this. We're going to have to change a lot of, like, all of these ones. That's okay, though. That's no problem. Let's go with our path tool again here. Let's go ahead and actually, you know what I want to do with this? I kind of want this to turn into a bit of a crossroads for this place that leads to all of our different locations here, and then like that. There we go. I think that looks a bit better. I like that a little bit better, because like the idea too is that like this is all kind of like functional city, but it's like these are the different like boroughs, so to speak, maybe the way to describe it. But I think that looks a lot better with that bumped up a little bit. Give our compass a little bit more breathing room. And then the only other thing I might do, might kind of do the same with this stuff and move that over so we can put our map label like up in that corner there too. That one in a little bit more. Let me try, let's see, let's go back to our symbols here. Grab this cluster. Move that maybe over right there a little bit more. Maybe if we take this one and actually move it in a little bit. I won't even have to do a whole lot of big changes. That out of there. Get that one out of there too. We put like our map label, like our city name here. Even want to make one like way over here maybe. I mean, I guess actually what I want to do, hold on, let me just try it this way. I think really what I'm realizing I want to do, I want to take all of it and just like, no, I guess I don't want to do that. I take it back. I don't want to do that. I like it where it is. I like it where it is. I think the problem is this city is going right where I want, or this part of the city is going right where I want my label to go. So maybe what I need to do is I need to just like take this one. Maybe if we like, oh, because I want the temple to be, like if we just put that right there maybe, and maybe if we just take the temple and drop that right there and everything else can stay where it is. That works better, I think. And that actually kind of clusters it closer so it looks a bit more like its own, like its own sort of specific city. Actually, I think that works. I think that's okay. And then let me try messing with my paths a bit here again. This. Get all this junk out. We're just gonna start our paths all over again. It's like, forget it. Okay, got our path tool. Boom, boom, goes up. Right there. Go. I like it wrapping around that tree there, kind of like that. There we go, that looks good. And then maybe this one up here. This city. I actually kind of like this idea a little bit with the simplified pathways. A couple fewer intersections actually looks kind of nice, I think. That's bad though. That looks better. Do that, and then maybe starting here. Boop. Out. Let's bloop, bloop, bloop. Bloop. Let's bloop. I don't like that. That's dumb too. I'll just do there. There. Oh wait, hold on. Damn it. Wanted to just like undo one of the. But that's okay. That's okay. Hold on. I'll get it. I'm gonna get it. Don't worry. I know you're all super worried about it and super concerned about what's happening with this map right now. But trust me, I'm gonna get it. It's gonna be great. There. And that right there, just like that. There. I think that looks better. I like that better. The pathways are a bit more under control that way. And now what we can do is we can do labels. Put in a label right there. Eschrin Lore. The name of our city here. We need to do some edits here. We need... First off, we need to make this Bilbo. Because, of course, we're doing Bilbo. We're making a medieval fantasy style map. Why would I do anything other than Bilbo? Right? Like, it's so obvious. So obvious. Let's do that. Let's add some curvature to it. We need to make this a lot bigger and more elegant. Whoops. Oh, beans. Have that right there. Oh, I want this a little less angled, maybe. Maybe even make it a little bit bigger here. Boop. Yeah, I don't mind that. I think that looks okay. That looks kind of like what I'm going for there. Maybe not perfect. Like the... I almost wonder, maybe what my issue is here. Let me try something. Just plop this guy somewhere else. I think that looks a little bit better. You think that looks good? Alright, alright. Yeah, I think I like it. I think maybe, I don't know, I feel like there's better placement for this. Up our thing. I feel like I gotta get that just right there. I think, yeah, maybe that floats a little bit better. Because it's just, if I put it too high and get it too close to the wall there, then we got this big empty space. And I could put in another tree, but I feel like another tree there is going to stand out because it's going to, like, stand so much taller than everything else. So I think that looks good. I think, in general, we've landed on something that looks pretty okay. Right? Because we got our deeper forest over there. We got Ashton Lore there. What I could do, maybe, and I may undo this, but let's try it. Hold on, I gotta match our tree size. Yep, there we go. I think what we can do, thicken this area up just a little bit here. And, gosh dang it, no, I don't want you to... There. Just kind of do that a little bit and have it encroach a little bit more. Encroach a little bit more here. Because, like, the idea is that the whole area is surrounded by forest. But, like, I don't want to encroach on this area. So it's like if we... There we go. We can just, like, add the occasional tree to, like, demonstrate that it continues. And maybe if we do, like, the same with, like, a few things over like this. Right? And then maybe... like that, right? Yeah. I think we can kind of do the same with, like, stuff up here. Couple trees and stuff. There we go. Okay. Okay, now we might be onto something. In fact, actually, what I'm going to do, kind of double down on this idea. Way up. Doot. Doot. Just have a few of them kind of like poking up there, just like doot doot. Right? Just kind of play peekaboo over there. There we go. I like that better. Okay, that's kind of what it felt. Because I think... And actually, hold on, let me grab this area a little bit better, too. Because I think what was throwing me off is the fact that, like, we have stuff going all the way to the border there, but then I had a buffer there. So it looked like half of the picture was framed, and half of the picture wasn't. And that was bothering me. I think that's what was bothering me, because this, I think, looks much better. Because now it kind of looks like I've got the whole thing framed up. Oh, man, I've got a stitch in my rib from kickboxing. Been there for a while. My rib and my shin have both been jacked up since last week. Oh, but that's my own fault. That's my own fault. I have a game suggestion. Lay it on me. Lay it on me, my friend. I'm always looking for good game suggestions. There we go. I like that. Hold on, I gotta just, like... It's too much of it. It's, like, too much of an even line here. I gotta, like... There we go. I gotta just break up the line a little bit there. There we go. That looks better. Same kind of actually with some of the stuff up here. Gotta thin this out a little bit. Far Cry 5. Far Cry 5 is a good game. I've played that one. I've thought about doing like a Far Cry series run through. I have thought about doing that. I did just start the, we just started the Fallout run through, so we've kind of got that one locked in for the time being. I gotta, and see, now I'm really falling into the rabbit hole of trying to balance out my forest a little bit. Like, I want this path to be a little bit visible in some places, right? I gotta just like work away over here. Occasionally have 1, 2 trees that kind of poke up over the edge of, but I think that looks better. There we go. I like that a bit better for the pathway. Let me grab this. Look, that one there. Plop that one right there. This area, actually, now that I'm looking at it, I do want this area to be a bit more uniformly open. There we go. Let me plop a couple more trees down up there. Maybe down in there a bit too. Really. Tree tool. That a little bit, and then maybe blop, blop, blop. Oop. Flip. Flip. There we go. There we go. Now it's coming together. Now it's coming together. It's not like when there's big gaps, right? That just looks kind of weird. Boom. Just watching the Russian Badgers video. Cheesy boy comment. I have no idea. I have no idea what in the world you're talking about there. Those are some titles you got going on there. Is that like a YouTube troop or something? I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, I'll take your word for it that it's worth watching, but I have no earthly idea what you're referencing in any way, shape, or form at the moment. There we go. I think that looks a bit better. There we go. All right, there we go. I'm very close to being very happy with this exactly as it is. Hold on. I kind of feel like maybe I can do a bit better with some of these trees in here. A bit more here. A little zhuzh right there. No, I guess this is okay. So the only place that feels empty of trees is right here, but that's how it's supposed to be. Those 2 areas are supposed to be empty of trees, so I think that's good. Makes fun of games while liking them at the same time. Oh boy, do I have a stream suggestion for you? Mine. I love video games. I love most video games that I play, but I will tear into the ridiculous parts of any video game I play. Because every video game has tropes, every video game has ridiculous things that you're expected to do that really just are not explained well within the story and the context of why you're doing what you're doing. That's what video games are. I love it. I love it. There we go. Okay. Gosh, see, look at this. Like, this is the one thing, like, these are so dangerous for me. Oh boy, what did I do with my pathways there? Hold on, I goofed up my pathways here, though. That's, oh boy. Okay, there's a couple things I need to do here. Let's grab that. Okay, hold on. Hold up. I get it right. I gotta get it right. There. Aha. Alright, there we go. Our wandering little pathway here that kind of goes up and around and down into deeper and deeper woods until eventually, boom, we're gone. There we go. Okay, that's what we needed. That's what we needed right there. More makes nuclear apocalypse noticeably worse. Yeah, I mean, like, okay, like, you must have missed me. Oops, hold up. No. We're not making a path. I was trying to move my map. You missed me, back when I was really playing Elden Ring heavily. and discussing how the Elden Ring character is basically just a chaotic, stupid character. Because you don't do, like, you never, like, the game makes sure you don't understand what the hell is going on. You just agree with what people want you to do. They're just like, so will you kill the gods to become an Elden Lord? And you're like, okay. And you just go. And you just go. Let's see here. Video's buffering heavily. I think that's got to be on your end. I'm not showing any stream drops or anything. I don't think it's on my end. If it is, I don't know where it's coming from. Because I'm not showing big frame drops right now. Everything looks like it's going pretty smoothly for me at the moment. But yeah, no, like my Elden Ring, yeah, it's like in that, and I pointed that out quite frequently. Your character doesn't actually understand what's going on. You just encounter random people that are like, lore, some random lore, God's lore. Will you kill this individual for me? And you're like, well, I like quests, and killing is the point of this game, so I'm in. And it makes no sense ever. and that is the story of Elden Ring. Alright, I'm actually really happy with this map right now, though. I finally have achieved contentment with this map. As it is. It achieves what I wanted. It has all of the areas that we needed. Let's see here. Series of potato batteries. Hey man, if you can make the internet work off that, that would honestly be pretty impressive. Those are some powerful potatoes right there. I know what you mean though. Frustrating. Like, where I live nowadays, I've got pretty solid internet, but I've been in places that was not a reliable thing. I totally know where you're coming from. Oh, boy. Thank you, yeah. I'm pleased with this. I'm pleased with this map. Dang it, I keep doing that. No, we're not making new maps. Or new pathways. I'm really happy with this. I like this. Let's save it before I screw up and lose everything. Wouldn't that be just the most beautiful situation? Like, wow, I got this map. It's perfect. And computer crash. It would hurt. It would hurt and I might cry. And I might cry. If you sweet potatoes, yeah. But not sweet potatoes as in like yam. Sweet potatoes in like, those are some sweet looking potatoes right there. Right? Like that's what you need. That's what we mean. Because that's how you can get that sweet power that you need. Kitty, what are you doing? Oh, she's spazzing. Oh, she's spazzing. Sometimes when she gets hungry and I don't feed her, she starts spazzing out. And well, now is one of those. Yeah, I see you, you psycho. Don't fall off your cat tree. That's a long way to fall. You be careful. It always makes me so nervous when she jumps off her cat tree. Because she's got a cat tree that she can climb up to the top. And the thing is, oh, it's a good like 3.5, 4 feet off the ground, which isn't super duper high. But it's high enough that I don't trust that she really actually can tell how far away the ground is with her one eye. I'm always worried that she's gonna like hurt herself by misjudging it and landing too hard. I mean, she's been doing it for years and she loves it, but yeah, it makes me a little nervous. I wish she would like climb down rather than jumping down. I know, you jump down every time and it makes me super nervous. She's like, don't worry about me, feed me. Sweet potatoes are failing you. Ah, I'm sorry, man, that sucks. That sucks. Damn you potato net. I'm happy with this. I'm pretty content with this. Yeah. So let's see here. So there's one other set of labels I'm going to do, and this is just for functionality for my players when the time comes. We are going to, let's see here. We need to, well, need curvature to not be that of the earth. We need like 0 curvature. We need font size to go way down. Delete that. Delete. What is happening here? No. There we go. Good lord. It's one of the things that I'm not a super big fan of. With this program, I'm not a super big fan of how they did the label making thing. It's very clunky and they have not upgraded it in any version updates. You are just staring daggers at me, cat. She has achieved peak hunger at this point. She is just staring daggers at me. Oh boy. Maybe I don't need to. I was going to put little labels here that talked about what the different areas are, but maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe it's just nice as it is. Maybe I'll just leave it as it is. And call it good. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to save one more time to make sure everything's awesome. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty ding dong happy with that. And I'm remembering too, actually. I'm remembering what we kind of had going on. We started talking about this and I liked it. I kind of want to revisit and see if there's anything else that I can detail, because we've got like, I don't know, 25 minutes left. Kind of an awkward amount of time, right? Because we can't really get a whole lot more detailed stuff done in that short amount of time, but it's not, you know, I don't want to cut it off that early, because it is still time that we can use. I got that time earmarked for being here writing, and so I want to be here writing. But we started talking about with the side mission, Friends in the Rift. During their time in the Rift, there will be evidence for the players that perhaps other friendly beings are imprisoned near or in the Rift. If players take time to help them, people may help distract the monster in the next couple sections during the chase. Standard idea. These people are the same as the person helping him murder. That's right, and we had like a friend in the dark, right? That's right, yeah, a friend in the dark. Along with three things. Not a drow. The drow exist in this area because of the magical radiation damaging them, not because of personality traits, right? Because we discussed that. Because I didn't want it to, this isn't a situation of like, you know, like I always refer to, oh, excuse me, the Salvatore character Drizzt, right? Where I never know if I'm saying that right. Drizzt. At any rate, where he's like a uniquely positive dark elf amongst a race of bad people, right? It's like, it's not like that, because these people aren't just like mean. These people are damaged, like literally, physiologically and psychologically damaged by the rift that they live near. So this isn't a matter of them like, oh, maybe one will choose good. No, like their brains are not developed and functional the way an elven brain should be. So I didn't want to just do the contrived, like, oh, but there's one good guy who's there to help and subvert the tropes. You know, these people are cultists and they're dickheads. There might be other parts of the world where there are drow that were formed by a rift, you know, by similar magic that formed the drow, but then the rift has been closed or they migrated, and so future generations aren't, like, you know, physically damaged by the rift and willing to be nice to other people. But within this cult, yeah, are you coming up? Okay, come here. Oh, don't get scared. Come here. Yeah, if you want to come up, that's okay. Psst, psst. Or are you just going to beg and bother me? It's probably both. You're going to come up here and beg and bother me? It's like, oh, wait, there's not food up here. I know, kitty. Saying hi to everyone. Gonna sit there and pout now. Yeah. Sitting there and pouting. I know, kitty. Mike picking her up? Oh, not quite. She's not quite close enough for the mic to pick her up right now. They're so angry at me right now, this cat. But at any rate, so yeah, I want there to be sort of like one person willing and able to help them. And I think it'd be an interesting thing if it's like he's helping them hopefully in exchange. Oh yeah, and that's what we had been talking about, is like maybe this character will also try to draw them to the rift. Because even though this character is good and wants them to survive, he wants them to survive to help him and his people. Yeah, because these people... That's right, because that's when we had kind of discussed about how, like, it's easy to be this world-centric when we think about things. So we think about these tears as being between this world and all of the other realms. But it's easy to forget that the whole idea of the unhinging is that there were tears between other worlds and, like, between multiple other realms, right? So it's like there's tears between the Feywild and the Fire Realm and stuff like that, too. And so the idea for these characters is that they were displaced from one, like, maybe the Fey Realm or whatever, into the Shadow Realm. That is where the Drow are kind of originating from, or rather the magic that making them is originating from, and where this tear goes to. They were displaced into that, and their first escape that they found was into the mortal realm. And so they're just going to the mortal realm as a positive step forward towards eventually getting back to their home. And so that's right. I remember this. Oh man, I'm glad I remember this too, because this is a cool friggin' idea. Not to toot my own horn, but beep beep. This is a really cool idea. I like this. I know, Kitty. Oh, I know, Kitty. So mad at me right now. She wants to eat so bad. Poor mistreated kitty. Yeah. I really like that idea. Well, okay, here's some stuff that I want to do here. I guess one thing we could do is just take care of a little bit of housekeeping. I do want to copy all of this stuff. The stuff that we have here. Copy that, and I do want to bring this to our Chapter 7 page just so we have quicker, easier reference tools here. There we go. That's perfect. That's perfect right there. Don't like the way that it has decided to do the bullet points here, though. Come on, OneNote. You can scroll down while we're selecting things. I know you can. We've done it before. Oh my gosh, I don't know why this one is like too much for it. Like it just can't handle it. There we go. Okay, that looks better. I like that better. Kitty, you need to stop begging, okay? It's getting a little pathetic now. So mad at me. So I wanted to do that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's work on this here. I haven't done some of this stuff yet. Let's go ahead and that's right. I just named the chapter Darkness because it's just like it's supposed to be this really dark thing. Notice the strategic choice of doing titling the place Darkness and not The Darkness, because The Darkness is a very different thing. It's a fun pop rock band, and that's not the situation we're doing right here. Whoa! Bringing in the hate for OneNote. Look, OneNote's got some faults, but I love OneNote. I love this thing. Oh, LibreOffice. Oh, so fancy, hoity-toity, using the LibreOffice over there. I'm just messing with you. There's a lot of great tools. All of them have pros and cons. In general, I really appreciate OneNote. I just think it's silly that Microsoft, for some reason, has created OneNote without making it as functional and powerful as Microsoft Word. It was a weird choice. But in general, as far as organizing my notebooks and stuff go, I love OneNote. It is fantastic. I'm a big fan of it. Let's see here. Yeah, so, but yeah, let's work on writing our history a little bit here. Yeah, so I do want to do some history of our dungeon here. Go. Okay, so before the unhinging, Ashrin Nalor, gotta capitalize that, was a lovely example of a beautiful elven city. Was peaceful. Let's see. It was a peaceful. My goodness gracious! You can tell it's getting towards the end. I can't type anymore. It was a peaceful utopia in which the people lived in harmony. In harmony. That's harmony with Narnia. Harmony. Lived in harmony with the forest around it. It was often a valued retreat, or rather, we'll just say a valued destination for those looking to pilgrimage to any place that would allow them to commune better both with the magics. Actually, we'll say with the nature. The nature, the mortal realm, as well as the connections to the other as well. Let's say the city always had an air of magic about it that would set even the most tense of travelers at ease. Let's see, we'll say, but when the Fire Nation attacked, no, when the unhinging occurred, tragedy struck the village. Wow, look at you! You actually jumped up on top of the desk without requiring my lap. That is how angry and hungry she is. She's willing to sacrifice her own comfort for jumping on top of the desk. Just for the sake, just for the opportunity to bother me. I know, honey. I know, poor kitty. Poor neglected kitty. How could I not feed you? Oh my goodness. How cruel of me. Okay, well, you got 15 minutes, okay? No, don't go. Kitty. Let's see, okay. Shorter version of Oblivion. I mean, if you want to break things down, everything is one of like 5 stories ever written. There's 2 people don't like each other, learn to like each other, right? There's object is missing, go on quest to find object, right? So-and-so like is coming of age or learning their true selves. Like, if you break things down, everything is its own unoriginal story. You want to break it down. I'm not sitting here creating an Oblivion remake. I can understand where there are some connections, but I mean, in a way, Oblivion is just a Lord of the Rings fan fiction. Pretty much any modern fantasy can be described as a Lord of the Rings fan fiction too. Honestly, when you bring it down there, Lord of the Rings kind of is the reason that modern day fantasy exists. Captain Fighting Words over there insulting my one note and now saying that my story is a knockoff. Good lord. God, everyone's a critic over here. Nah, I'm just messing with you. Alright, let's see. Kitty. Knock it off. Give me just like 10 more minutes, cat. Alright, but when the unhinging occurred, tragedy struck the village in the form of beasts from another realm, wreaking havoc on the people. Those, let's see here, most fled, some of them making it out alive and heading north to the fortified cities, there we go, outside of the ski forest. There, some of them making it, others perished, others perished, there we go. Pershied? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. How many times can I misspell one word before I finally get it right or give up and use the auto check? Oh my goodness gracious. That's just embarrassing. It is definitely getting towards the end of the writing stream where my brain is turning to mush and unable to make clear thoughts. Okay, let's hear. Let's see here. Others perished to the creatures as they flooded the city, confused, scared, and angry. But a small few managed to survive, hiding in various places in the city until the creatures left for elsewhere in the forest. Those who stayed, however, swiftly fell victim to the reality warping powers emanating. I just legitimately don't know how to spell that word. There we go. Thank you. Emanating. It's Emma. It's like the person, but with only one M. Alright. Reality warping powers emanating from the hair that had formed in the woods just outside of the city. Those trapped individuals became the first of the drow. Now the city is home to the drow cult that makes it home. So averse to light being seen, they live in complete shadow, hiding in the dark, out of sight of anyone who does happen to enter the city. Such poor souls are not long for the city, however, as the drow have taken to worshiping what am I trying to say here? The beasts released from the tear. Whenever a being, the more pure the better, enters the city, the drow begin a twisted game of cat and mouse, during which they subtly guide their prey to the tear, where they are then sacrificed for the belief that this will appease the beasts. The beasts? Wow. The beasts. And maybe even increase the strength and power of the drow at large. Boom, there we go. There's our history of this place. I think that's kind of all we need for just the basic history. I mean, the more detailed, like all of the more in-depth details are going to kind of come out and come into play when we finish our mapping of or finish our creation of the campaign in general. So let's see here. So yeah, I think that's good. Let's see here. See a bard pull a reverse card. Why a bard specifically? There's no one else capable of tricking drow. No, almost kidding. Not quite yet. I like that you've specified that it has to be a bard. I know, Kitty. I know you are very ornery about it. Soon. You're just gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Yeah, so mad at me right now. Alright, anyway. I think that's good. I think that's good for the history. And yeah, that kind of takes us about to our time here. So I'm going to bring us over to our chatting section now, so I can do my sign off. Thank you so much to everyone who stopped by. Lots of cool people coming by. Lots of cool discussions and topics today. As always, I really like these writing streams. I love the creativity that kind of comes with the audience for these. It's been tons of fun. Hopefully it was good for everyone else as well. Yeah, hopefully it was good for you too. Sorry, that got weird. I won't do that again. That's a lie. I'll do it again. I'll forget and I'll do it again. At any rate, thank you for stopping by. Let's see here. Today's Thursday. So tomorrow will be the last day of our regularly scheduled streams. My regular schedule being Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time Zone to 3:30 p.m. Mondays and Thursdays are writing, as we were doing today, and then Tuesdays and Fridays being video games. We started this week playing our run through of our series run through of the Fallout games, which means we are playing Fallout 1, and that game is old and awesome, and I love it. So we will be continuing that playthrough tomorrow. Yeah. As far as I know, I won't have anything getting in the way for that. So that'll be great for us to do. Yes, Kitty, bump the mic. Thank you for giving everyone feedback. Wonderful, very thoughtful. So look forward to that. If you're looking for ways to stay connected outside of streams, there are a lot of different ways we can do it. I have a Discord server. That's a great way to stay connected. I try to provide discussion topics and stuff. Sometimes people participate, other times they don't. But hey, the more people that are there, the more participation we can get, and it's really fun for me to stay connected with people through that. So if that does it for you, go ahead and join up with that. Let's see, you can follow me on Twitter at EnviroStreams. I put a lot of announcements there, as well as just random stupid thoughts that I have. I've got my Instagram, EnviroBoyStreams. If you're curious about what other things I get up to in life, my Instagram, I put not stream related stuff usually, not always, but usually there. And then I have my YouTube channel, EnviroBoy, where I put all of the VODs from all of my streams. So if you missed one, or if you want to just go back and see what other stuff I've worked on in the past, you can go check that out at your leisure. That's there for you whenever you want it. Oh, and I guess I do have one more. I am on TikTok now. I caved and I got a TikTok. So just find EnviroBoy on TikTok. And I've been using that one to try to learn how to upload clips, the little clips that you can get from streams. So if you're looking to just get snapshots of some of the humorous things, if you want to see what funny things happen during a stream, follow that. I'll try to do my best to remember to put stuff and learn how to be better about putting stuff there. So I got that one going for me. I'll get a link going to that one of these days too, once I figure out what the exact link is to my TikTok or how to follow me on TikTok. But it's there now. I caved and I got a TikTok now. So China knows everything about me, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, those are the ways you can stay connected. And I think for now, that's everything I've got. I think that's all that I got for you. So thank you so much to everyone who stopped by. I appreciate you guys. It really means a lot to me that, I like it. It feels good for me to say that I do have an audience of some really cool people. I feel like a lot of people struggle to get any audience at all. And I love that I have an audience. It's really flattering. And I'm just really happy that I have a good audience, because I feel like some people have very toxic audiences, and that's not true for me. At least I don't feel like it is. I feel like I have a very, very fun, creative, generally pretty happy and supportive community, and that means a lot to me. It's a really exciting thing that I wasn't sure would ever happen when I first started streaming. So thank you so much to everyone who's a part of that. It means a lot to me. And that's all I got. That's all I got for today. So thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your day. If I don't see you tomorrow, have a good weekend. And yeah, I'll catch you cats on the flip side.